This is the Darling of the Forgotten State, unofficial OTS member, Noah Vale, and you're tuned in to the OTS Project.
And so if the binary motivator's not working, then you're really just cooked all the way around, and there's no reason to even try. So
yeah, you're just screwed. I mean, that's how it works.
Right, and we see that. So,
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the OTS Project. Welcome back to some of y'all. Welcome for the first time to probably most of y'all. Episode 22. I know last week, if you were watching last week or listening last week, we kept saying episode 22 last week. Was not the case. I got so far as to editing everything and uploading it, and in the title I had episode 22, and I was like, well, let me go look. And I went and looked at our last episode, and the last episode said episode 20. So, so last week was 21.
22 part 2. We skipped
right.
21's the secret episode. It doesn't exist.
This is actually 22 from a different universe. So it depends if you saw this one before last week's episode, then you're in a different universe actually.
This is episode 22B.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, no. Today is episode 22. Last week was 21. So that's my bad. It's not even Theo's bad. My bad on that one.
If
Theo,
you
what
want to
is?
blame me, it's fine. I don't care.
Right.
Go for it.
You have partial credit by association.
Sure.
So Theo, what's going on with you this past week?
Nothing much has been going on. I think we talked about it last week technically, but I did watch Scream last week. But I don't know. We've kind of been playing some different games here and there. Big thing really that has been going on outside of work and whatnot is I have been planning my itinerary for my trip to Chicago next week. I am going to Chicago. It is going to be my first ever solo vacation. I'm going to be meeting up with some friends up there. I'm going to explore the city. I'm going to have a very
This is the first
fun
time I'm hearing of this.
Yeah.
All right.
It just kind of happened because like I have like a month left to use vacation days, and I'm like, well, I've always wanted to go to Chicago. Let's do that.
All right. Well, shit. All right. Well, congratulations. That sounds fun.
Yeah. I haven't gone on a vacation in well over a year at this point, and I fucking need one. So, this is it.
All right. That's cool. That's cool. On my end, not much. Just playing some games. We've been playing Battlefront 2, of course. The campaign is holding strong. We are trying to get Battlefront 3. Yeah, I still am in disbelief that we are in 2025 and still playing Battlefront 2. But again, I'm not mad about it, and I also feel like I am learning more about this game, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like when I played this game, I don't know, it sounds weird, but I feel like when I played this game, I just stuck to what I knew. You know what I'm saying? I stuck to heavy.
I've been noticing this a little bit recently when you've been playing, because you've been picking up more blaster heroes, which I'm very proud of you for, because you would always use sabers, and you're expanding your repertoire, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. Like, I always stuck with heavy when when you use your troopers. Right. But I've been going. I still use heavy. That's my main. But I've been using the kind of the sniper specialist like route a little bit. And then when we're like using heroes and stuff, I still like Kylo Ren and Maul are my mains on the dark side, and Luke and Anakin are my mains on the light side. But I have been playing with Phasma a little bit and whatnot. So yeah, I've definitely been branching out and kind of feeling it out and learning more about this game. I also last night I sent you a couple of them. I found some guy on TikTok that will just tell you, like, he's like, here's just like broken layout for Maul. Just use these star cards, and you'll be good. So I need to go in and look after we're done recording or whatever, and see which star cards I have, and kind of alter that as well, and whatnot to get an even better version of those characters. But yeah, so that's been interesting when I've been playing, because before I just kind of stuck to heavy, Kylo, Maul, Anakin, Luke. Like, I've just always stuck with what I knew. So yeah, I've been branching out a little bit. We played a little bit of GTA. That's been fun. It's always fun. And I told you yesterday I've restarted Jedi Survivor. That's been fun. I'm still early on. Last night after we got off Battlefront, I played a little bit, and I kind of left off right after you get out of like the High Republic temple on Kobo with the droid. That's kind of, so I'm still really early on in the game, but it's fun. But I will say, I don't know if it's maybe just somehow my console, because this is something I noticed the first time I played it too. This game seems a little buggy. Like, it seems a little like glitch. Like, some of the cutscenes.
To be fair, the
Go
first
ahead.
game was also a little bit buggy as well. I think that's just kind
Yeah,
of been both these games.
like yeah, some of the cutscenes almost feel like they don't render properly or something like that. Um, and then like I have currently Cal with like the long hair, and sometimes I'll just be like like walking forward on flat ground, and his hair will be like lifted up and things like that. So that's something, yeah, I definitely have noticed. The first game, yeah, but I think the second game maybe more just for me. I'm not sure, but the second game, I feel like I've noticed like it's definitely a lot more buggy, a lot more like kind of glitchy. So hopefully the third game when we get that, hopefully they work on that because it does take you out of the game a little bit when like you're looking at something and it like just cuts to Cal and like his face expression like doesn't render, so he's just standing there blankly, and you're like, okay, dude, like your friend just got like killed, like you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a little weird, but it's still a great game. Uh, yeah, I've been loving it. So I have I'm doing like the new game plus because I never did
Right.
like that, so I've just been doing that. So I still have like kind of all my shit. I'm just like going through the story and whatnot. So yeah, I'm just having fun. I just love so much. And it's not even a new thing because it was in Fallen Order and it was in the Force Unleashed games. I just love that lightsaber stuff, dude. Like the customization and shit like that. In Force
Right.
Unleashed, you can only change the color, but the color, changing the parts, that's one of my favorite parts of this and Fallen Order is being able to like fully customize the lightsaber. I just think it's so cool. It's so fun.
Especially with like all the different like parts to it and stuff like that, because you do have like
Mm,
all the different stances. You can do like the single saber, the double saber. You can have
yeah,
like the cross guard, dual
mm.
wield. You have the blaster and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different things you can do with
And
that.
like being able to go around each map and possibly find like a new lightsaber. Like I think on Kobo, literally you can go into a chest and find Centauri Kree's whole lightsaber and stuff like that. So it's like it's really cool that you can find pieces and parts and whatnot. So yeah, I just love it. I when I loaded in, it must have been again because it's new game plus. It must have just been my kind of loadout from when I played before. So I had the orange like lightsaber, and I've been rocking the green. I changed. I've been rocking the green recently. So, but I always again when I play those games, I'll play like a couple of like missions, quote unquote, with a color, and then like I'll end up changing it. So I go through like the whole rainbow at some point, just having
Right.
fun and just like using every color because they all just look so cool and so beautiful. But yeah, that's the big. That's kind of all I've got going on. Has just been playing some video games, hanging out. We do have Money in the Bank this weekend and Worlds Collide. We are going to record a whole separate video for our predictions that will be up on the YouTube channel. Once we're done recording this podcast, we're going to do that. So that's big news this coming weekend, I should say. Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. Worlds Collide is really big. This is like the first time really there's like a dual company show within WWE. WWE's always been off on their own, but now they have a partnership with TNA. And now this at WrestleMania they announced they had, I believe they said they purchased, right, AAA.
Yeah.
So they've purchased AAA. So this is the first like WWE slash another company kind of show. So that's a really big deal. I'm not super familiar with AAA. I've never been like super big into Mexican wrestling. There's obviously people I know like Vikingo, and Psycho Clown and people like that. But a lot of people I don't know. So I'm excited to see people that I don't know and hopefully become a new fan of some people this weekend. Theo, I know you probably more so because you really don't know anything about AAA. So I know you know Vikingo because he
Yeah,
was in
Vikingo's
AEW for a
probably
little
like
bit.
the only one. I know Del Rio was down there for a little while. I don't know if he's still
Yeah,
with them or not because I know that's up in the air and whatnot.
he just dropped the title to Vikingo, so I believe they're finding a way to kind of get him out of there. So
Right.
thankfully,
Good.
because anybody that wants Del Rio or El Patron in WWE, fuck off because he's a piece of shit. So yeah,
I remember the clip after he left WWE. He like showed up at some like random little promotion, and he went out to like this. It was like a high school like gymnasium almost, or like a basketball court, and he went out there to 20 people and got zero reaction. And I
Yeah.
was like, "This is what I need to see."
Another thing I did this week that I totally forgot to mention. I watched AEW. I'm not. I don't know. I haven't really watched AEW. I've been sticking to WWE. We don't cover AEW. Well, we cover like if there's news about stuff, we'll cover AEW, but we don't like include it in our predictions and things like that. We kind of just don't, because we don't really watch it. I know you don't watch it, and I don't. I'll pay attention on social media, but I don't watch it. But I decided, you know what, WB, they've been kind of pissing me off recently with their decisions on screen and off screen. They've been pissing me off, so I decided, you know what, it might be time to turn Dynamite on, and I just so happened to turn it on a pretty good week because like they with the NBA Finals and whatnot, they kind of have Collision is on Saturdays and it's kind of up in the air because the NBA Finals are on Saturdays. So
Right.
I don't know if this is the thing they've been doing or if it was just for this week, but they did like a 4-hour show that was Dynamite and Collision back to back on Wednesday. So it was a pretty big week to like watch it again because I got like 4 hours worth of content and it was a good show. There was nothing really for me to complain about, so it was a pretty good show. So I think I'm gonna continue to be watching Dynamite, and again, we're probably not gonna fully include it into the podcast and talk about it as much as we talk about WWE, but it might more just be kind of my thing that I do, and then if there's some news or something like that, we will kind of cover it on the podcast, which leads me to our news because we do technically have some AEW news. Mariah May has left AEW, and when I typed this up, that's all I typed up. Mariah May leaves AEW because I saw the report. I'm sure you probably saw it that Mariah May has been removed from the AEW roster on the website or whatever, and I was like, oh, all right. Well, it had been rumored that she may be gone. Nobody knew. We were like, is she gonna go? Is she gonna stay? So when we saw that she was leaving, that kind of confirmed it where she was gone. And then Tuesday rolled around, and NXT rolled around, and Mariah May has showed up in the WWE, which is not surprising. If she left AEW, I fully was like, well, if she's gone from AEW for sure, then she's definitely going to WWE. So yeah, NXT rolled around on Tuesday, and the lights went out, and Mariah May was up on that little, I don't know what that is, that little podium, little stand thing that they have in the Performance Center. She was there. I believe she's getting a new name because when she was on screen, they did not mention Mariah May at all. They just said, like, in her promo, she said, like, the glamour has arrived at NXT, and that's kind of where they left it. And I believe she had, like, a backstage thing for social media that, again, they didn't say Mariah May. So I fully believe she's getting a name change, kind of similar to how Ricky Starks came in, because when Ricky Starks came in, it was the same thing. He didn't say his name in his promo or anything like that, and then, like, the next week, they revealed he's Ricky Saints. So I don't know what her name's going to be. I know some people have been kind of joking around that her name is going to be something stupid and that some of the NXT names are stupid. I saw someone say, like, Mayflower, Mariah Mayflower or something like that.
Maybe
Like,
Mariah March.
Yeah, Mariah March. I saw that one. But I'm not going to lie. I feel like that kind of only, well, I don't want to say only, but that mostly, the stupid name thing mostly goes for people that are brand new, that don't have a name. But, like, Ricky Saints is not too far off from Ricky Starks, and it's not a horrible name. So I feel like her name's not going to be something horrible. I'm sure, you know, there's a difference between someone coming in from the NFL that has no wrestling name and has no background, and the Performance Center staff, you know, the coaches give them a name. I don't think somebody's giving Mariah May a name. I'm sure they've told her to come up with a name, and they're going to clear it. You know what I'm saying? So, like with Ricky Starks or Ricky Saints, they didn't just give him the Ricky Saints name. He came up with that, and then they approved it. I'm sure it's going to be the same thing for her. She's not going to be given a name by some coach. She's gonna come up with her own name. So I don't think it's going to be something stupid. But Mariah, whoever, is officially a WWE and WWE NXT superstar now. So that's really exciting because I enjoy her work. I don't know how much you've seen of her. Obviously, you know of her, but I don't know how much you've seen of her.
I honestly, before this week, I didn't really know about her. I'm going to be honest.
Right, because I feel like you haven't really watched AEW. I know when you first found out about AEW, I believe you watched it, you know, a couple weeks and whatnot, but you don't really watch it too full on. And there's a couple times we watched the pay-per-views, but that was before she came in. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't have like $70 every month to drop on a pay-per-view, so we don't really watch the pay-per-views. Right. That's one of the perks about having the WWE POEs on Peacock is that we don't have to drop $70 every month to watch it. So yeah, I have seen some stuff. I have watched some of her matches. Some of her stuff at Stardom was good. But the big thing, and I'll have to see if I can find it. I don't know if maybe somebody has it on YouTube. She had a whole feud with Tony Storm. What time was Tony Storm? So she came in, and she was like Tony Storm's like kind of assistant or lackey, right? And so Tony Storm had already, like, she had become timeless Tony Storm, and Mariah May, like, Tony Storm was like, oh, your role is to kind of be me. So Mariah May would walk around, and she, instead of being timeless Tony Storm, she was like rockstar Tony Storm. So she would dress like rockstar Tony Storm and stuff like that. And it got to a point where Mariah May obviously turned on her and like beat the ever living hell of her. She took like a high heel and was jabbing her. Like Tony Storm was like gushing blood. It was a really, really cool like visual and shit like that. So they had this whole feud over the AEW Women's title that a couple pay-per-views ago they had like their final match, which was, they like marketed it as like the Hollywood ending or something like that. And that is one of the best women's matches in recent memory. People have put it over like crazy. It was a really, really good match, and it literally ended with like the both of them. Tony Storm won and like got the title back, but it ends with the both of them just be like on the stage, just like laid out, and on the screen it just says like the end in like classic Hollywood font, and it is like super. Even though it's not a cinematic match, it was like super cinematic way to like end their feud and stuff, and so that's what put a lot of people on to Mariah May. I believe it's just like a girl that people didn't necessarily know, and then she had this incredible feud. She, during that feud, was the AEW Women's Champion and was pretty good with the championship. So like that's another thing people enjoyed, was her run with the title and whatnot. So I'll have to see if I can find that match to send you, because it's really good. But her in NXT, she's gonna kill it, and I'm super excited to see what she is gonna do. But some other news, we got Did we talk about this last week with R-Truth?
No, we didn't.
No? Okay. I don't know why. Right, I don't know why I felt like we had covered it last week. But yeah, unfortunate news. We got some releases, some not fun releases. It's never fun. And I could have swore we talked about this last week. So if we did, and we're blanking somehow, sorry. But yeah, we got R-Truth, unfortunately released. Carlito, unfortunately released, and Valhalla has been released. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, the Valhalla one, I don't think too many people are upset about that, and I know some people were really not upset about it, because some people found some very not nice things that she had said about Black Lives Matter and stuff like that on her social media. So I think a lot of people were kind of like, well, good riddance, because you just seem like you're not a good person. And also, not gonna lie, she hadn't even been on TV in like a year. Her last quote-unquote match, I saw somebody post like her last match. Her last match was like right before WrestleMania 40. It was like a battle royal. And I was like, this has to be older, because I saw Tamina in the ring, which obviously no offense to Tamina, but like Tamina hasn't wrestled. She's been retired for like a year. Right. So I saw Tamina in the ring. I saw Tegan Nox in the ring. So I was like, okay, this seems older. And then I could see the WrestleMania 40 sign. So I was like, okay, so her last match was like over a year ago at this point in a battle royal. She hadn't been with the War Raiders, so that one did not surprise me as much, because she just, I don't know, she was just at home. They had no plans to use her at any point, so that didn't surprise me. But Carlito, R-Truth, that one did surprise me and a lot of people. Carlito, we'll start there. Carlito's great, man. He was the comedy of the Judgment Day. I know a lot of people, including myself at first, when he got added to the Judgment Day, was like, okay, that's kind of random. It made sense because of Dom, but like he didn't necessarily fit the group. But he proved that he fit within the group with the entertainment he brought us over like the past 2 years or whatever, right. A year or 2 years, whatever it is. He's just great. He's hilarious. He's always solid. When he came back to WWE, we were super hyped. We wanted that for years. We would always say every Royal Rumble, it would be both of our prediction that Carlito was going to come back. We were wanting it, and then it finally happened. So he came back in the Rumble, and he did like one Raw after that, and then disappeared. And right. He I guess had not signed a contract. And then Backlash in Puerto Rico came around, and he was one of the run-ins. Huge pop. You would have thought John Cena came out the way the people blew up, because obviously he's huge in Puerto Rico. His family has, his family is a legendary family in the wrestling world, in Puerto Rico specifically. So he got like crazy like Legion of Doom pop, Road Warrior pop when he came out. And then after that, it seemed like he had signed a contract. So yeah, we were excited that he came back. And then yeah, within the Judgment Day, he was just hilarious. I always loved the comedy, but I always loved the subtle like hinting of him being attracted to Raquel
Dude,
That shit was always great.
I'm so upset that's not gonna get its payoff now. Because I was actually like very excited to see where they go with that. Because it's so
Yeah.
like in the background, but like now we'll never know. Now that'll never happen.
Right. It was funny. One of his last ones was probably the funniest one, where he was like, "Hey, we should like he's as they're like Liv and Dom are talking in the main screen or whatever. You just see Carlito in the back, and you could just subtly hear him be like, "Yeah, we should go to dinner. But we'll have to use your card, but like I'll totally pay you back." And I was like, "That is so funny." And then like Raquel, a couple days later, just randomly tweeted out like, "Should I do this? And do you guys think he'll actually pay me back?" And I was like, "That's great. That's great." So I would have loved to see a segment where they do go out to dinner and it's like not going horribly, but it's not going super well. But then somehow Liv and Dom end up showing up and they have to, they end up ruining it. Whatever it is,
Right.
obviously, it wouldn't be a segment where they just have dinner. It would have something would have
It would
ensued.
be something. It would be something like Liv and Dom are out at like dinner, and they're like like arguing about like Roxanne or something like that, and then they get up to leave, and then it just pans over to Raquel and Carlito having like the most awkward dinner ever.
Right. So yeah, Carlito being gone is sad. But yeah, the big one is R-Truth. This one has really shaken the whole wrestling world, not just the fans. You saw clearly a lot of the talent were vocally not happy about this. Even on Raw.
Right.
On Raw, Dom was wearing like a Carlito shirt, but at some point I saw that so Rhea Ripley had a segment on Raw backstage or something like that, and she was in kind of like a red sports bra. Then I found out she had posted photos like right before that. She was wearing an R-Truth shirt, and they made her take it off, which is fucked up, not cool.
Right.
So clearly she was trying to give R-Truth a shout out, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so this man is just beloved by everybody in wrestling, whether it's someone he's worked with or a fan that he's never met like you or me. Everybody loves R-Truth. Whether it's, him being R-Truth just in general, where, when he came back to WB and stuff like that, he was just a solid worker. The 24/7 stuff, even though it was goofy, he made it so good. That man's like an 87 times 24/7 champion at this point. He probably has the most title runs in wrestler history at this point.
Yeah,
because of that
for
championship. Yeah, that 24/7 stuff was so stupid, but he made it so good, and it was low key. Don't know how anybody else feels, but during that time, that was one of the highlights of watching Raw to me, was seeing what R-Truth and like Tozawa were gonna get into with this 24/7 title.
Right.
Even after the 24/7 title, they still found a way to make it fun. When he was with Carmella, that was fun when they were doing like mixed match challenge stuff, but they were together on SmackDown, fun times. Yeah, and even as to recently, man, doing his little quick program with Cena and the WB title, and literally his last match.
With the Judgment Day, bro. Classic.
The Judgment Day is top tier. I mean, literally his last match, at least from what I know, was literally him versus John Cena at Saturday Night's Main Event for the WWE title. So, what a way to go out. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, his last match was some random tag match against the Judgment Day on Raw. He had a pretty significant last match in WWE, at least, because I still see him wrestling. Even though he is older, I still definitely see him wrestling. He seems like he's in great shape. He don't seem like he's slowing down. It's kind of similar to like a Booker T, where it's like Booker T's older, but Booker T could still put on the boots and still have a good match. Archer the same way, older guy, but still in great shape, still can have a great match. And honestly, I would love to see him have a really great match, because I feel like he wasn't able to do that in WWE. That wasn't his role. His role was to kind of be the job guy or have a normal match, but, chaos ensues and comedy ensues. I would love to see, like, him versus, like, Matt Cardona on a indie show, and they just, like, have a 20-minute just, like, barn burner and just tear the house down. Because I know R-Truth could still do it. They never let him do it, so we'd love to see that. Hell, fuck it. I'll call the shot, bro. Give me R-Truth versus Will Ospreay, bro. Fuck it. Let's see what they can do together.
I don't see that happening as much. But it would be good.
Man, it would be fun. I would love to see what they could do together. But yeah, so yeah, R-Truth, probably the biggest one, universally loved and beloved by everybody. And between him and Carlito, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like give it like a year or two, and I don't know if they'll be back, but they both definitely at some point are getting Legends contracts. They're gonna,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know if they're gonna be back per se in the roles they were in, where they're on Raw every week. But at least if they sign a Legends contract, they'll still be in the ether of WWE. We'll still have action figures. They'll still be in the game. You know what I'm saying? They'll be trading. Like, we'll still somewhat get Carlito and R-Truth stuff if they were to get a Legends contract, to where we can still at least enjoy them somewhat, even if it's through an action figure or the video game or something like that. So yeah, not much more. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to this, but
No, I mean, I kind of want to tie this into something you said earlier, where WWE is kind of taking me out with some of these kind of decisions, because I'm in like the same headspace. I mean, even like ever since like WrestleMania 41, I've kind of just been a bit out of it, but this certainly does not help bring me back into it. Like,
I'm with you.
there are 2 WWE shows going on this Saturday and a Fortnite event, and I'm the most excited about the Fortnite event, which is crazy fucking
That's
stupid.
like the first time ever.
Because I don't even fuck with Fortnite like that, but I'm not even fucking with WWE right now, so.
Right.
And it's Money in the Bank, too. And Luchador shit. I should be excited, but I'm not all that excited, to be honest with you.
No, I'm with you, and I'm hoping this weekend can get us back into it, because we will be watching. So, I hope it can, they can steer the ship around. I always feel like the women's Money in the Bank is going to cook. Everybody in that match is
that's a good match.
That's going to be fire. So that one I'm probably most excited for. But yeah, I'm with you. Since WrestleMania 41, I've been kind of just. I'm still paying attention. I still watch Raw. I still watch SmackDown. I still watch NXT, unless I have like stuff going on or whatever. So I still watch everything weekly, but it's more background noise sometimes. I'll be watching it when I'm playing Battlefront. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of just on. So yeah, I've been kind of out of it, and so I'm hoping this weekend can kind of turn the ship around for the both of us. But yeah, moving into I'll stick on the WWE topic for a second.
Right.
Karrion Kross, somebody that has been making waves and has been demanded to be on Raw in more than just laughing at somebody backstage, because that seems like what he's done for like a year straight at this point. Which is funny, because it has been like a year straight of him just constantly lurking backstage and just finding somebody else to like laugh at and like rage bait backstage, and then like nothing ever happens. Like, he's been messing with AJ Styles and Sami Zayn both since before WrestleMania, and there hasn't been like a payoff to either. Like, they've wrestled, like he wrestled AJ and whatnot, like the Raw before Mania or something like that, but there's been like no payoff, and now like AJ just moved on, so I'm like, I don't even, like, it's just so random, dude.
The only payoff is that he just like costed AJ the match. That's like
Right.
at WrestleMania. That's like the only thing, I think.
Right. And like, I don't think he wrestled Sammy.
No.
So I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but obviously he cut that crazy promo after night 2, I believe, of WrestleMania. That shocked the wrestling world. His shoot promo, which I don't know what he wants to tell people, but it was definitely not a shoot. He knew what he was saying. Everybody tried to say like, no, it was real. It was a shoot. Look at how Scarlett reacted. She's an actor. It's her job to act. I'm sure she knew majority of what her man was going to say, and she was just reacting to it in a way to make it seem like she had no clue what was going to be said. Yeah, WWE's not going to let somebody go on any platform that they have and not know what they're going to say. So, so yeah, his contract, it seems like, is coming up here. He's in his contract a year. I believe it was reported that he's in the final month of his contract, so I don't know when it expires, but clearly it's coming up soon. And it seems like there has not been any motion on the WWE end to re-sign him. Crazy. I don't know what's going on here. This man, not only, like, he cut that promo, and since WrestleMania, people have been buying his t-shirt like crazy, to the point where it sold out on WWE Shop, and they had to restock. And the fact that now, this guy who's barely on TV, he's just backstage doing these random stupid things, his t-shirt is on the merch stands in the venue for Raw, at least. I would imagine probably even SmackDown, but for Raw at least. That's pretty crazy for a guy that isn't like... You could say, okay, Randy Orton may not be doing much right now, right? But he's still Randy Orton, so there's always going to be a Randy Orton shirt on the shelf at Raw or SmackDown or a live event or PLA, because he's fucking Randy Orton. So even if he's not on the show, they're still going to sell it because he's a cultural icon and someone, even though he's not on the show, people are still going to buy the shirt at the show. So for a guy like Karrion Kross, who's barely on TV, to have his shirt be on the merch stands, that's fucking big. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
There's people that are there's people that are big. You could probably say, like, someone like a Roxanne Perez, who's on Raw every week. She's like one of the newest hot and up and coming people on Raw. Her t-shirt is probably not really on the merch stands at the thing because she's not like a huge name. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the fact that they're selling Karrion Kross t-shirts, they're selling t-shirts for a guy who's primarily just doing backstage segments at Raw, is pretty big. So clearly he's moving merch here where they're sold out online and they're selling it at the shows. So why are we not trying to re-sign this guy? I don't understand it. It's confusing me.
I don't know why we're not trying to like push this guy. You think that if he's getting this popular and selling this much merch off of like a 30-second shoot promo after WrestleMania, that you would capitalize on that and use him to make even more shit, to make even more money, and just a whole cycle of that.
Right. So here's my theory, and I don't like this theory, but this is what I'm assuming is the case. They, at least originally, they had no plans on re-signing this guy. They weren't using him. He's in his contract year. They had no plans on giving this man a new contract. But he went and cut that promo, and now has become one of the most like popular stars in the past like 2 months. And so now I feel like they're in a situation where they're probably on their side wondering, now we had no plans to re-sign this guy, but do we re-sign this guy or do we let him go? And that's probably why they haven't made any moves yet about a contract, because they're probably sitting there wondering, is it worth us to re-sign this guy or not? So that's my theory. And if that is the correct theory, I will say sign him because like it just makes no sense to me that even if he didn't have plans to use this guy, he clearly has started this movement. So why would you not re-sign him to another couple-year contract and try and capitalize on the success so you can make money? Because I'm not going to lie, even though they re-sign people and we're concerned about if we want to sign Karrion Kross to another 5-year contract, are we really going to use him for 5 years? These are the same people that will just release someone on a random day. So I don't understand the hesitance of re-signing this man to another contract. If you go a year into this new contract, you go, oh yeah, we don't really care to use him, just release him, and then they just it's just, this is how they move anyway. So why not take the chance on trying to capitalize and make a shit ton of money, even if you don't necessarily have plans for him. But you should have plans for him because he is a great worker in the ring and on the mic. One of the only guys that does character work. He literally, you could look at his character and you could be like, no, like there's things that he does almost like the Fiend. And I know Bray Wyatt and him were close, and Bray gave him a lot of advice over the years and whatnot. So he probably took it straight from Bray. Where when you would see the Fiend, he would feud with somebody, and then once they were done feuding, everybody he feuded with when they were done feuding almost had a completely drastic character change. Like, completely different character change. You know what I'm saying? So, same kind of deal I feel like is going on with Karrion Kross, where, like, he was feuding with the New Day a little bit. He would be fucking with the New Day. And then what happened to the New Day? They turned heel. They turned on their brother. Like, that has happened. Like, there's been little seeds that have been planted with everybody that Karrion Kross has kind of interacted with, where he gets in their mind, and then a couple months later they do something, which I'm not saying Triple H is planning 3 months in advance a heel turn. That's not the case. They just happen to turn heel, but Karrion Kross can play off of that and go, remember what I said, y'all? I was there. I told them this would happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's just good at kind of calling back and going, I said this, even though that's not the plan. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, one of the only guys that does like legitimate character work every week whenever he gets an opportunity to be on fucking Raw for 30 seconds. So yeah, I don't get what the hesitance is about signing this guy, because he's great, and they really haven't even given him a chance. His biggest chance in WWE was in NXT in 2021. That was his biggest chance, and then Vince ruined it with a horrible Mad Max fucking call up. So it's like, this poor guy hasn't had a chance. He came back, even his comeback, he threatened Roman Reigns. His legit like return was the bloodline in the ring, and Scarlett put a fucking hourglass on the apron. And that's like his return, was targeting fucking Roman Reigns like 3 years ago. The man has never seen Roman Reigns since. Like, there has been no... this guy has had no opportunity. And it's so messed up to me because he's so good that he should definitely have an opportunity. So, yeah, I'm done ranting.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it just annoys me.
You said, this kind of put another fear into me, and it may just be because I haven't been following along with WWE a lot recently, just because I am so out of it. Like, I'll see like a few clips here and there, but I won't like go into it and watch it or anything like that. But
Right.
you've said the word theory a few times, and I haven't seen Austin Theory in fucking forever, and that kind of scares me.
That's another one.
Because it seems like a lot of these people that they're letting go are like very big, like almost like Vince McMahon creations, and Austin Theory is definitely like a big character in that sort of realm, and so that kind of worries me. Because I know Grayson Waller has appeared like here and there, but I don't think I've seen Theory in a while.
Right. Which is another thing where the Austin Theory face turn should have happened almost a year. Well, not almost, but like when they won the tag titles, and then once they dropped those tag titles after WrestleMania, they should have went into the program to turn him face, because the people were waiting for it and they were teasing it even before WrestleMania. They were teasing it, so it's like, again, why did we drop this? Where you could have turned him face. Where, I'm not gonna lie, I've worked with Austin Theory. I've worked with him a few times before he was in WWE. His best work is when he's a face. I'm not gonna lie. He could be a great heel. He could be a great cocky heel because he just looks better than everybody. But I'm not gonna lie. Kids, I've seen it. Kids kind of clamor to him. Kids like him. I feel like, and it's maybe just my personal opinion, but I feel like his best work that I've seen when I've worked with him was as a face. Even when we go out, not even playing the character, there were times where we would go out to eat afterwards, and he'd be with us. And he's just like maybe it's because he's just a young, attractive guy, and he knows that. But he would be like the most charming guy in the whole restaurant to everybody. The waitresses would be like falling in love with this guy because not only is he an attractive man, but he's so sweet and so nice, and he's smiling at them. And I was like, this guy is the most charming. Like, he's playing the part of just being a nice guy, outside of the show. And I'm like, this guy should be a face, bro. Like, he's great at it. And again, he could be a great heel, and you could even take that idea and turn it where he's like this, charming asshole or whatever. But I just feel like whenever I would work with him, his best work was a babyface, and he seems like a genuinely just kind of cool dude. So I'm like, why is this guy A, not on TV, B, why has this guy at this point not been a babyface for about a year? Because I feel like if he did, he'd be a really big name in the company. He'd be popular. People would love Austin Theory instead of laughing at him because of his selfie gimmick that Vince made him do or whatever. So
Right.
Yeah. Some other news though. We're already 37 minutes in, but sorry for my rant. We got a Wicked for Good trailer, so that was interesting. Playing some music here. Yeah. So we got a Wicked for Good trailer. We watched it kind of together. You kind of muted your mic, but we primarily watched it together. And when you came back in, you just went, "Why is this making me more emotional than the Superman trailer?"
It's fucking crazy, bro. Like, it's so fucking good. It's probably one of the best trailers I've seen in a very long time.
Very, very good.
So good.
Very, very good. Which is funny to me too, because I thought about this the other day. You didn't even want to see the first movie, bro. I remember when the first trailer came out, and like when it started hyping up, I was just like, "Yo, Theo, you want to go see Wicked?" And you literally were like, "Nah, not really." And I was just like, "Okay, I guess I'll just go see it with my mom then." And then it just like became this thing. You betrayed us because you went and saw it with your friends when you were supposed to go see it with us, and then you went and saw it with us.
Hold on. I didn't betray you. There was no like pact made or any shit like that. I was literally just hanging out with my friends, and they came up with an idea like, "Yeah, it's opening night. Should we just go and see it? We should just go and see it." And I was like, "Okay, I guess we can go and see it." And then we saw it, and it was great. I actually want to say, I had this story come back to me in my head a few days ago after we watched the trailer. When I watched that movie the first time with my friends, we were in the theater, and it was packed. We could only find like a row of 4, like at the very top, at the very far right. It kind of fucking sucked in a way, to where like the speakers are like up in the aisles, like pointing down,
Mm.
but it's like the left speaker is perfectly going into our ears. The right speaker is like above our heads, so
Right.
we almost have like right ear deafness to the movie itself
Mm-hmm.
because the the audio is shooting down at an angle, but the angle is going over our heads, so
Right.
we can't really hear the movie out of our right ear. So we're essentially just watching this movie from the left ear, which is fucking hysterical. But I mean, I enjoyed it a lot the first time. I enjoyed it even more so. I think the second time just because like it was with you and Rachel and your mom, and you guys are very much more so like versed in this Wicked verse, and so you guys were getting like very much so more emotional because of it. We were laughing at a lot of the jokes that were going off, especially with like Bowen Yang and stuff like that. He
Yeah.
was fucking hysterical that movie.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a very, very good movie. I'm very excited for the second one.
We had Wyatt with us too.
Yes, why was that? He came in like halfway, I think.
Right. No. He it was before the movie, but it was like right before the movie started.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he got there on time. But yeah. So Wicked for me is like the first real musical that I had seen like kids musicals and things like that. Maybe some movie musicals, but the first actual full on like almost Broadway level production musical that I had ever seen on stage at the Strass Center in Tampa was Wicked, I believe. So this always will hold a special place in my heart. The music is just incredible. Defying Gravity is one of, if not is the most iconic like Broadway musical song ever. It's just like a cultural phenomenon, and clearly the movie just took it and ran with it because Defying Gravity has been playing in everybody's heads for the past almost year at this point. So yeah, I feel like you know somewhat of the story of part two. 'Cause I feel like you looked into it a little bit.
Not much, honestly. I mean, I picked up a few things here and there from the trailer. I did try and read. I did tell you that I tried to read the book, but I just couldn't get into it. I think I got like a third of the way through and I just stopped because I was like, it's just so fucking wacky and so like different from what the musical is. Like it's
Right.
generally the same story, but it's written so differently and it has so many different like scenes to it that it's just almost a completely different form of Wicked, and I just wasn't getting into it.
Right.
But I mean, I was picking up on some stuff from the trailer. I can see where things are going. I would prefer to be kept spoiler free from stuff until we see the movie.
Right.
But that's just me. I'm not a big spoiler guy. I like to
So-
be kept in the dark about things so I can get that surprise factor.
So I know obviously because I've seen it. Like I know, I know a good bit, but when I did see it, I was younger, so there's a lot that I forgot. Grace knows way more. She's way more versed in it. She knows like every little detail of part one and part two. Whereas me, I kind of just know how it ends. But there's definitely stuff that I've forgotten that me and Grace would talk about. She's like, "Yeah, bro, you don't remember in Act 2, scene number 33, and Fierro does that." And I'm like, "No, I don't remember this. Sorry." This is her Star Wars, bro. Really, this is literally her Star Wars for us.
We
So,
got
yeah.
we got to ask her who's the Glup Shido of the Wicked universe.
Right. We need to for sure. But so yeah, I'm just really excited. The song "For Good" that you hear in the trailer, that I predict that you, when you're on your own, it might be different. But you, when you're with others, you are not a crier when you watch movies. You may get emotional. There's been times we've watched movies and we've gone, "Oh my god, that's making me a little emotional," but I've never seen you cry. I'm predicting that when you see the scene and they're singing "For Good," you are gonna cry. I am predicting that you are gonna at least shed one little ounce of liquid out of your eyeballs. Because it is a very emotional song. It is a very beautiful song. So I'm predicting you may cry when you actually do see this. There's another song that I'm forgetting. So in the trailer, they showed it in the trailer, the part where Elphaba is kind of doing some witch chant. It's like hamana. It's like in the beginning of the trailer. That is another song that is fire, and the scene, what is happening, that is causing her to do this spell, is chef's kiss. It's crazy, bro. So I cannot wait, because I can't wait to experience it, but I almost more so just can't wait to experience it through your eyes, because you have no clue. And I'm gonna ask you politely, do not go see this with your friends, please. Please wait and see this with your family. so that so we can experience this with you.
If they ask me right on the spot, I might say yes. I'm not gonna lie.
No.
I don't see my
Say,
friends that often.
hey,
So
sorry guys, we can go see another movie. I already have plans to see this with my family. That's what you should have said the first time, but I'll let the first time slide. If you go see it the second time, we might be throwing hands. That's all I can say. Might be throwing hands in the damn living room of your parents' house on Thanksgiving. That's all I know.
is it coming out Thanksgiving? I don't know.
It's in November. I don't know exactly when. Because I don't think the first one came out on Thanksgiving. Obviously, you fucking went and saw it before, but I think we waited to see it on Thanksgiving because we were all gonna be together anyways, and you went and kind of ruined that. But we waited to see it on Thanksgiving because we were gonna be together. But I think it had already been out for like 4 or 5 days at that point. So yeah, moving on from the Wicked For Good trailer. It was great. Top tier trailer. Can't wait to see the movie. And I do also, in our podcast ideas, I do have a Wicked episode that I want to do when we get closer to the release of For Good. I would like to do an episode just kind of centered around the first movie.
No, I was thinking that I did want to rewatch it closer to when that movie comes out because I feel like that'd be a good refresher.
For sure. So we'll have to do that and just talk about the movie in general. Last piece of news, as we're almost an hour into the podcast already. The Switch 2. I threw this in here last minute before I went to bed last night because I was scrolling through TikTok and I just kept seeing posts about it. It came out yesterday.
Right.
So, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of posts about it. Lamar Wilson, I don't know if you know who that is. He's a YouTuber I've watched for years. He does a lot of like tech stuff, a lot of video game stuff. He's like a mix between like a tech YouTuber and like a nerdy YouTuber. So he likes a lot of gadgets. Like, here's this new techie watch that I have. But also is a big Nintendo fan, so he'll constantly... So the way I found him, real quickly, Disney Infinity is how I found him. Disney used to send him like all the new shit for free to review on his channel. So anytime it was like, here's the new Marvel Battlegrounds playset, they would send him that with all the new figures. And so as like a teenager or whatever, I always just love watching him unbox the new figures. And he always had... So that's how I found him, was Disney Infinity. But I still have watched him for years because he does Nintendo shit and things like that. He was a big Amiibo guy and whatnot. So I saw his TikTok unboxing the Switch 2, and I kind of went down a rabbit hole before I went to bed last night. So the only thing I want to say is, yes, it came out. I'm not a big Nintendo guy. You're definitely a way bigger Nintendo guy. I do have my Switch right here, my first Switch, and I've said it before. I barely use this thing. I use this thing for Fortnite bot lobbies. That's it. I leave it above my bed because it's easy access for when we are using the bot lobby. That's the only thing I use the Switch for. I barely play it. The most I ever used my Switch for was to play Let's Go Eevee. I binged that game. I went crazy on that game. I played it like nonstop. That's probably the most I've ever actually used my Switch. Other than that, the Switch has basically just sat here and done fuck all other than Fortnite. So I'm not a big Nintendo guy. You definitely are. You do not have this Switch 2. It is not there with you.
I do not. Well, the thing about it is that it's $150 more than the original Switch.
Right.
And that's a bit of a crazy price point for me to be dropping, especially when I'm going to Chicago next week.
Right.
And at least dropping $1,000 on that trip alone. So I need some saving up money here.
Right.
And buying a Switch 2 would not be in that. But even still, I'm like, I haven't been too excited for it. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about it yesterday. It's either really the new Mario Kart game, which people are very excited for, and I think a lot of people have been enjoying it, or it's people putting in like the older Switch games and seeing how they perform. I've been seeing a lot of people playing like Smash and stuff like that and having like instantaneous load times, which I think is pretty cool. I've been seeing a lot of people using it for like shiny hunting in other Pokemon games, which that's a whole like phenomenon, which I think is some of the nerdiest shit ever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
I'm not in that, but I almost am. Like, I'm on the verge of, because I absolutely love Pokemon. I play the Pocket game and things like that. I play Pokemon Go on and off. So I have heard of the idea of going in, because there's like things where, sorry to cut you off, but there's things where you can go into a game and like find a shiny, but then it goes into another app on your phone that somehow also may be able to transfer to Pokemon Go. Like, it's the whole thing where you may have to go into an actual game on the Switch to catch the shiny version of Meowth that you can't catch, or it's super hard to catch in Pokemon Go, but you could transfer it to Pokemon. Like, it's a whole thing. But continue.
Like there are like live streams that people will do where they will just play any random Pokemon game for hours and just continuously restart it every like minute or so because they didn't get like a shiny starter. And I'm like,
Right.
this seems like a very odd way to spend your time. But pop off, man.
Right.
Do what you want to do.
So, yeah. So I went down this rabbit hole. I did see a ton of live streams. I did not watch any. I just kept scrolling. But a lot of live streams of people playing the new Mario Kart. It seems like the same Mario Kart. It just has an open world aspect to it. But other than that, it seems like any other Mario Kart game. But I also haven't been paying
I
attention.
do see they do have some new like tech and stuff like that. Like I've seen like people like speed running it and stuff like that already. I've seen like because they have like wall riding now and stuff like that. They have like grinding and stuff like that. So there's definitely some new like tech stuff they've put into the game, but it does seem a bit slower to me. I will say it doesn't seem as fast as Mario Kart 8 was, which I don't care for because I think I love the speediness of Mario Kart 8, but we'll have to see what they do with it.
Right. That's again more you because I just hop in a cart as Mario and drive. I don't know. The most I played Mario Kart was on the Wii for sure. The Wii version I definitely played a lot.
The Wii one was fun though.
I did see the Joy-Cons, the magnetic Joy-Cons. That looks pretty cool because I won't lie, they seamlessly fit into the side, but they do not fall out. You have to hit the button to like release them. So that is pretty cool. I saw people. One of the things I really enjoyed, and this kind of goes back to it kind of goes into our actual topic of the podcast if we could ever get to that. I have seen that people were lining up outside of GameStop at midnight to get this, and that did bring back like a nostalgic kind of feeling to me because obviously like that's really not like a thing anymore. I know some Nintendo games they still do it, but like primarily not a thing, especially compared to when it was. Every game back in the day, it was every AAA game had a midnight release, whether it was GTA, Call of Duty every year, NBA, everything had a midnight release. Now it's kind of just Nintendo's thing. But so I did see some videos like that, and I did like that, you know, people were still physically lining up outside of a GameStop at midnight to get a Switch 2. But yeah, my only other thing is the price. And this is where it annoys me. Like you said, the Switch itself is $150 more than the original one. But games are $80 instead of $70, which even $70 is a new thing. Because up until before the PS5 and Xbox whatever came out, the games were $60. So they jumped up, and now Nintendo has jumped up again. And also with Nintendo jumping up, I would imagine it's not too far off that PlayStation and Xbox is going to start doing the fucking same thing.
I think that's honestly why we've only really been seeing a bunch of stuff on Mario Kart and no other games is because
nobody can afford
Switch comes with Mario Kart.
Right.
Switch comes with Mario Kart. Not all the other games are like $80, $90
right.
bucks.
You gotta take out a loan if you want to get a second game for your Switch too.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, that kind of annoys me because obviously it's very annoying. But I was just kind of laughing because I was like, I can't even blame people because if it was something to do with the PlayStation, we would be annoyed. We would probably do the same thing. But I was like, everybody crashed out, but people were lining up outside at midnight to get the Switch too. So I'm like,
yeah,
that's a little sad and a little concerning that that's where we are in this world where, you know, companies could do this and physically makes everybody upset. Everybody goes, we don't like this. But then when it comes time to, you know, drop, people are still. I mean, even pre-orders for the past couple weeks have been sold out, and people are fighting to find a way to pre-order a Switch 2. So the fact that they did that, people were mad, but they're still sold out everywhere, and the pre-orders were sold out. It's a little concerning. But like I said, if the roles were reversed and it was the PlayStation, you and I would probably still be in the same boat. We'd be mad about it, and then we'd most likely end up dropping the $80 on a game or whatever. So that's sad. That's where we're at, but so that's kind of my last thing. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to the Switch 2.
No,
but
that's my last thing too.
Yeah, not happy about that. Do you see yourself at some point getting a Switch 2?
You know, if game prices go down and the console is maybe like half the price it is now, maybe.
I sense a nice Black Friday deal in your future, buddy.
Maybe, I don't know.
Me? No, I'm not a Nintendo guy like that. Like I said, I barely use my first Switch, so why do I need a second one?
If they make a new Smash Brothers, maybe.
Okay.
That'd be like the only reason.
Right. All right, so that's our last bit of news and discussion. Long one for sure. We're an hour into the podcast, so I haven't even touched the actual topic. But Theo, what is your song of the week before we get into our topic?
Seeing as how I'm gonna line this up with our topic. Because it is 2000s
mine is
nostalgia.
also lined up same way.
I would love it if we did pick the same song.
We
I
may
doubt
have.
it,
We
but
may have.
It would be fucking hysterical. I picked "The Way I Are" by Timbaland.
Okay, I don't even know that song. I don't think so.
What? No,
Hold on.
you have to know this song.
Let me-
I don't believe you.
Keep talking. I'm
There's no
gonna
way
listen to it for a second.
This song. It's first off, this is definitely like a song you've heard because it's like all over TikTok. It is used in memes constantly.
Oh, did you say
It is a
Timbaland?
fucking classic. Timbaland, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said
It's a
Timberland
banger.
or something like that, and I was like, I don't know who that is.
No.
Okay.
It does sound like Timberland. It is
Yes.
Timbaland.
Yeah, I've heard
That's
that
a bit
song.
odd.
I got you.
This man had a chokehold over what was it, like 2007, 2008,
Yeah,
whenever that whole album dropped.
Him and Justin Timberlake too together.
Him
when
and
they
Justin Timberlake,
dropped
bro,
that
they
shit.
were cooking, bro. They
Yeah.
were fucking cooking, and this song is a fucking classic. I love this song.
Okay.
I still dance. To
Fun
the
song.
It's amazing.
Fun song. Mine has more weight for both of us, and I almost felt like you were gonna pick the same one. Mine, "Burn It Up" by the Jonas Brothers. That is
I thought you were gonna say "Life Is a Highway."
that I actually just listened to that the other day in the shower. It just came on like on my playlist or whatever. Incredible song. Another song to add to the list of you cannot listen to the song and be sad. It will put you in a better mood.
Right.
But yeah, so mine is "Burn It Up" by the Jonas Brothers. This is like quintessential. This is like the song of our childhood almost. Like this is like Disney Channel vibes 100%.
This was the song of the summer every summer.
Yeah, but especially 2008. When you would watch Disney Channel, it was like every other. After it'd be a commercial, and then they would show this music video again, and then another commercial, and then they'd get back to Hannah Montana or whatever was showing. Like they were blasting this music video on Disney Channel for like 3 months straight, in between every commercial break. Selena Gomez showing up in the trailer, that's iconic. So yeah, that's such a great song. I love that song, and is very holds a very special place in my heart because, like I said, it is like the theme song of like 2000s kids' childhood. Like every kid knows that song. So yeah. So, all right, our topic. I don't know if y'all can guess it by the thumbnail or by the song
I don't know if you
choices.
saw the thumbnail or the title or what we've been talking about for the past 5 minutes.
Right. We are gonna do something a little different. We're big on doing our top fives and whatnot. This might be a 3-hour episode. I'm not gonna lie at this point, but
Yeah.
we're big on doing top fives and lists and whatnot. We're gonna do something totally different. This is gonna be just a straight, pure discussion about just 2000s and kind of 2010s too, because we were kids in between like 2000s and 2010s. So 2000s/2010s nostalgia. We're just gonna talk about this for 5 hours, and you're just gonna sit down and enjoy it. So, yeah, I was born in 1998. Theo was born in 2000. My sister was born in 2001. Rachel was born 2003.
Two.
So our whole family, even my other cousin Logan, 2005. So a little bit later, but still in the 2000s. He's maybe more of a 2010s kid, but kind of in between still. So my whole family, the kids of my whole family, have grown up in the 2000s and 2010s, and it holds a very special place, obviously, in our hearts. I would like to say, I don't want to speak for you, but I would like to say, primarily the four of us, at least Logan as well. But I'm just talking about the four of us: you, me, Grace, Rachel.
Right.
I would like to say we had a pretty good childhood. The four of us. We had,
Yeah.
I'd say our parents did a pretty good job. They did the best, they could. I'll say. I'm sure we
We're
all
in a recession.
right. I'm sure we all have our own childhood traumas or whatever that we we don't have to dive into. But primarily, I would say that the four of us had.
That's not the topic.
Right.
We're not talking about repressed memories.
No, we're talking about the good memories.
I gotta make a new list.
So yeah, I would say the four of us had pretty good parents, pretty good childhood. A lot of I'd say our parents. I feel like the four of us, we didn't really want for anything. I feel like we all kind of got. If we wanted something, we got it, or for Christmas or our birthdays. Like, we always ended up, if we wanted a new game, if we wanted a new game system, we wanted a toy, I feel like the four of us all, at some point, probably got that toy or game. So, it is easier to look back. I'm sure that not sure, I know that obviously there's kids that grew up similar to us that did not have as good kind of childhoods, but I'm grateful that the four of us were able to have kind of great childhoods that we can constantly go back and look at and reminisce on. So I have a whole TikTok account that is just centered around nostalgic shit. If anybody wants to follow it, it's called Back to the 2000s, but the is with an A instead of an E because, usernames and shit.
Is that your account?
That is my account. You didn't know that?
I had no idea that was you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's my account. That is funny because I never said anything, so...
You never said it was your.
Yes.
You would just kind of send me stuff from it, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, this is a cool account.
Yeah.
I'll give it a follow.
Well, yeah, and also my more recent ones, I've posted photos of me as a kid within the post, so my more recent ones kind of give it away. But so that is my account. If anybody wants to follow it, I post on it every once in a while, just posting things like this about our topic, like toys, food, memories, just fun stuff about the 2000s and 2010s that I enjoyed. So yeah, we are just gonna go all up in this. I have different categories listed here. I have food. Hold on. Food, toys, shows, movies, and then kind of just like memories and kind of things like that. So yeah, Theo, I know you kind of put some stuff together too as well.
Yeah, I've got shows, I've got toys, I've got video games.
Hell yeah!
I probably could have put some board games down here too because I feel like that was definitely a big thing in the 2000s.
Right.
I didn't. I told you this before we started recording. I didn't put down movies because if I did, I honestly could have just done a whole ass episode just based off of 2000s movies because there's just so many good ones.
Right.
But I mean, we'll still talk about it
so,
for sure.
We'll start with food because that's the first one I have here. So I have a good amount of shit listed.
Okay.
A lot of these things are like no longer exist. Well, most of these are kind of no longer exist, right? Which I think makes it more nostalgic because you can't go to the store and just pick it up. I have talked about this. I don't know if you know I've talked about this, but there used to be this snack. This is my top 2000 snack. These Philadelphia cheesecake bars were the greatest snack ever, bro. I'll have to send you a photo. My mom used to get these. So it was literally just like a bar, right? So it's just like this, a bar. The bottom was the crust, right? Then it was cheesecake, and in the middle was a line of like strawberry. It was the best. It was literally just a portable cheesecake, bro. It was the best snack ever. Discontinued. They do not make them anymore, and I'm so heartbroken.
I don't know if it's me. If I completely and utterly misheard you, or if you completely said the wrong thing. But I swear to God, I thought you said Philly cheesesteak bar.
Cheesecake. Philadelphia cheesecake.
I was like, what kind of cheesesteak has strawberries and cream cheese on it?
No. Yeah. So the brand Philadelphia that makes cream cheese, they made these cheesecake bars.
Right.
That's my number one. So that WB ice cream bars, I used to get those from the ice cream man that used to come around the neighborhood. They weren't around very long. It was like a 2003, 2004 thing, and then they obviously they were a thing in like the 80s and 90s, but I think either they brought them back or they were still going up until like 2004 or 5. So I didn't get them a lot, but they were cool. It was just like a cookie sandwich that had like John Cena on it.
I found a picture of one I already want to talk about.
Okay.
Because this shit was fucking gas. So, like Go-Gurt was obviously a huge thing back in the 2000s.
Yes.
I'm more than sure they're probably still around.
Yes.
I imagine. But back then, they had these Go-Gurts called Fizzix, Fizzix.
Okay.
That was like fizzy yogurt almost.
I don't think I ever had that. I've never even heard of this.
Dude, it was fucking crazy. It felt so weird on the tongue and the mouth, and obviously they do not make this anymore, but that shit was fucking insane back then. There was also that one candy. What was the one fucking candy that was like fizzy like that, to where you put it in your mouth?
I know. It's called like Razzles or something like that, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I remember.
It was basically just that, but in yogurt form, and it was crazy.
Hell yeah. More ice cream from the ice cream man, the Choco Taco, top tier. That was fire. The character ice pops, of course, those are still a thing today.
Of course.
I went on a whole deep dive on this because like now I don't know specifically, but now I feel like it's just SpongeBob and like maybe Sonic. When we were a kid,
right?
No, we had SpongeBob and Sonic. We had Dora, Powerpuff Girls. There was a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh one that I never saw that I found a photo of online.
They'd have like Transformer ones.
Yes.
I remember those.
Ninja Turtles had one. Wolverine.
Ninja Turtles. Oh, for
there was a Wolverine one. There was a Danny Phantom one. They went crazy with the character ice pops for sure. Grips. Do you remember Grips?
Oh my God, do I remember that shit was like top 5.
This is crazy.
Me,
so yes, Grips. For anyone that doesn't know, it was like there was 3 different. There was Cheez-Its. There was the Chips Ahoy, and then there was another one. I'm trying to remember. But basically, they were like little, almost like crumbs. Almost, it was like little, like it was in a
it was
little,
almost like little cereal balls. Almost,
right. It was like a little bag that you would pour out, almost like sunflower seeds, but not sunflower seeds. It was like little. If it was the Chips Ahoy one, it was like a little piece of a cookie. The Cheez-It one was a little piece of a Cheez-It. Me and my mother went shopping at Publix the other day, right? They brought them back.
They're back?
I don't know if they necessarily left.
We?
However, when I saw it on the box, it said new. So I'm assuming they brought it back. But it said Grips, and it was the same 3. So
we should get this for when we do Money in the Bank this week.
all right, I might have to run to Publix later.
Yeah,
I might have to.
Publix one real quick.
Ooh,
fucking Kid Cuisine. Do you remember how good Kid Cuisine used to be, bro?
shit used to slap.
Shit used to
Did
slap.
you?
That shit was gas.
Did you ever have the Shrek one?
Maybe. I don't
Do you even know? You don't even remember what I'm talking? Because I've seen photos of it, and I remember.
think I know what you're talking.
It was like for the release of Shrek or Shrek 2, and it was a Kid Cuisine, and they had like green pudding in it or something like that. And the whole tray, because the tray was normally blue, the tray was green instead of blue. I remember.
I do remember.
I remember this. Yes, I definitely had it. I remember it. Yeah. Danimals and Go-Gurt, another one. They are still around. When I was at Publix the other day, I saw both Danimals and Go-Gurt on the shelf. Yeah, Danimals. We're still wondering who won that Sweet Life of Zach and Cody sweepstakes. We don't know.
We'll never know.
I just made a joke about this the other day when we were going to Chili's with Rachel and Wyatt with the I crush that water tower, the crush cups that they had. Go-Gurt, same thing. I used to love it was just Go-Gurt was just Go-Gurt.
Go-Gurt was
But I used to love like
time.
I guess the character ones, even though there's nothing character about it. But like the wrapper would have SpongeBob on it. I know there was an Attack of the Clones one.
Yeah.
I remember the Attack of the Clones one. Like it had like Obi-Wan on it or like Jango Fett on the wrapper. Did you ever freeze a Go-Gurt?
I think I must.
That just popped in my head. I definitely remember doing that. It basically just turns into ice cream at that point.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Ooh, the Oreo like sticks that you dip into the cream and stuff like that.
Top tier. Pokemon / Spider-Man Pop-Tarts. I don't know if you ever had these.
I remember seeing those. I don't think I ever had them, but I do remember seeing
This
them.
might be a result of me being 2 years older than you, because like the Spider-Man one definitely came out like you were probably 1. It was 2001.
Yeah, I was probably like 1.
Whereas I was like 2 or 3. I remember having the Spider-Man and the Pokemon ones. There was also a Powderpuff Girls one as well. And a funny thing I never knew about this, I saw a TikTok about it. Someone was like breaking down all the quote-unquote specialty Pop-Tarts between Pokemon, Spider-Man, Powerpuff Girls, I think SpongeBob, Scooby-Doo. There's a million. They were all the same flavor. They would just change the name.
Yeah, isn't it all like the wild berry or something
it's
like
all
that?
wild berry Pop-Tarts. They just change it to like spectacular berry, spooktacular berry, sponge berry, pokeberry. Like it was all a different name, but it was literally all just the wild berry Pop-Tarts. My last thing I have noted for food though is Star Wars branding on food. That's kind of a general thing, but we grew up in the prequels. And so I remember for probably like 4 or 5 years when the prequels would coming out just straight, where they put Star Wars on everything, and I am so nostalgic for it. I remember
the lightsaber spoons in the cereal box.
Yes, so good. I remember having a couple of those. I remember I have like this distinct memory of walking into a Publix with my mom and seeing sour cream and onion Lay's with Anakin on it from Episode 2. I don't know. It's just like burned in my memory. I think we ended up getting them, but I just remember that straight memory of seeing Anakin on like the sour cream and onion Lay's in the Publix, and then like Cool Ranch Doritos with Obi-Wan on it. Like just so cool, man. I just love any of that like Star Wars branding on like Lay's or the cereal boxes and things like that. It's just really cool. I don't know if you have any other food though you want to add.
I've been looking through stuff. I don't think I have anything else left. If I do remember it, I will definitely bring it up. But
yeah,
seems like all the same stuff.
So yeah, just some really cool, fun food. And then, again, there's more that we can go into. Like, obviously, Gushers are still a thing, but Gushers we used to have as kids. Right. You remember those little dots? It was like a gummy, and it was like a dot. It was made by the same brand.
Oh yeah, it had like the yellow box on it.
Yeah, it was like a sheet, and it had like gummy dots on it, like things like that. There was one that was like a twistable gummy thing.
Oh, snap! Oh, snap! Do you remember Lunchables? This is definitely pre-Obama. Lunchables had these pizzas, these dessert pizzas with chocolate sauce and tiny M&Ms on top. Bro.
I remember, but I don't think I ever had it.
It's so good.
But
It's so good.
Lunchables in general is
Oh
another
my
one we
God.
could add. We had Lunchables.
Lunchables entirety is definitely up there.
That was like for our parents. That was probably so easy, bro, because it's like they send us to school, and it's probably so easy to just grab a Lunchable out of the fridge instead of having to like make sandwiches or mac and cheese or anything like that. Just throw it in there. I remember eating. It's so funny because it had such a distinct taste, and it sounds horrible, but I actually am nostalgic for it. My mom, when they had the Lunchable hot dogs and the chicken nuggets, my mom would like send that for us for lunch for school. But like at school, you're not allowed to heat anything up, like.
Right.
So I would be eating like cold chicken nuggets or cold hot dogs, and it sounds disgusting, but it really wasn't. And I'm very like I remember the hot dogs had such a distinct taste and texture because of the coldness that I did not hate and shit like that. And so it sounds gross, and maybe it's just a kid thing. Maybe if I ate it today, I'd be like, "This is fucking nasty." But as a kid, I did not mind eating a cold Lunchables hot dog or chicken nuggets. I remember the chicken nuggets with like the barbecue sauce, and they had like seasoning and all that shit.
Yep.
Yeah, so good.
I found two more things.
Okay.
First one, SpongeBob mac and cheese from Kraft.
Yes.
This shit was so fun. Oh my god! I mean, it's essentially just the same thing as the normal Kraft mac, but I mean,
But it's shaped like Gary.
It's shaped like Gary, and it tastes better.
Yes. And there was a.
And then obviously,
Go ahead.
you can keep going.
There was a couple like that. They had SpongeBob, but then they had like Scooby Doo, I think, and like they evolved it, and I think they probably still evolve it. They probably still have SpongeBob, and there's probably
I think they do stuff.
Skibbity Toilet Kraft mac and cheese now.
Fortnite mac and
Yeah,
cheese.
exactly. Floppers.
And then I don't think this is essentially or necessarily 2000s because I think this is pretty like generational and generational. Smiley fries.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh yeah, and they used to have them at school, or at least at my school.
have them
My
at
elementary
school.
school had them. Yeah, those are.
You
great.
would like bite half of it off, and then you're like, "Look, he's got half a face now."
He's Two-Faced now. Yeah, no, for sure. My last things I will add. I don't know if you remember these. Do you remember like Blue's Clues food?
Blue's Clues food? No.
So it was like that's not what it was called. It was like I'm saying like themed. So there was two. There was this Blue Clues ice cream by Bluebell. That was blue ice cream. They had blue paw print chocolate chips in it. Banger. Great ice cream. Like I remember the taste. It was so like it was essentially just vanilla ice cream with chocolate chips, but for some reason it tasted different. And there was Blue's Clues applesauce. That was blue applesauce that me and Grace could not get enough of, bro. It was again just like dyed applesauce, but it was so good. It was so good. I think there was Scooby Doo ones too that were like green or something like that.
I found two more.
Oh my god.
The last one
We gotta
bring
move
up
on.
is not nostalgic. It's just incredibly fucking weird. I know. These are going to be my last two for sure.
All right.
SpongeBob Cheez-Its. I swear, SpongeBob had like all the food in.
Yeah. SpongeBob
show.
was
There
huge,
so
bro.
many SpongeBob.
I mean, it still is, but it was definitely way bigger when we were kids.
And I found another food here. I'm not nostalgic for it. I had no idea this existed until I just saw the picture of this now. I don't know if this is even real. Heinz baked beans pizza with cheese.
I've never heard of this.
It is a cheese pizza with baked beans baked into it by Heinz.
Huh.
I don't know if this is real or not, but this is fucking insane.
Yeah, I don't know if it's real, but that is pretty funny. So, moving away from food, toys.
Yeah.
We're going to toys.
Toys.
This is a big one for me. I was always a toy kid. I was a huge toy kid. Still am. You can literally see behind me I have Funko Pops, action figures, all that stuff. Yeah, I have a dog back there staring at me.
Did nothing to do with this.
Right. So yeah, toys were a big thing for me. Probably bigger than you. Probably bigger than anyone in our family. That was my thing because again, I still collect them. So that's one of the things I reminisce on most of my childhood is like the toys that I had and kind of still have because I still have a lot of like wrestling figures from my childhood and stuff like that. So starting off, it's literally actually right next to me. Galactic Heroes, bam, right next to me.
I have this written down too.
Top tier, bro.
This honestly, it might be nostalgia glasses, but this
Ooh.
might be the best fucking like line of Star Wars toys.
I never even realized this. I
It's
need to
so
show.
good.
I need to show the back. Look at the back, bro. Look at the back. That is
oh
so
my
nostalgic.
God.
I had like all of these. Like I literally had like every single one of these.
They are perfectly designed for children.
So good.
Like there's no possible way they can choke on it. It's very marketable towards children. It was so fun to play around with them and do like little fake lightsaber battles, or like pew, 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 or like stuff like that.
2006,
with
by
them.
the way.
Just 2000.
That's when at least that one came out. That's after
Right.
obviously Revenge of the Sith, but they were before that.
They should bring them back. They should.
They
Bring
should,
them back.
and I feel like they have like playmates that are similar to that and stuff like that, so it's not too far off. But yeah, I need to grab this again. Just remember like this mall. I had this mall. I remember that. Like I had so many. I had this Obi-Wan.
That mall was peak.
I had this Ben Kenobi. I had all these. We were talking about it the other day. I had like the Galactic Heroes Millennium Falcon that I would put all my guys in. Like I had this was my shit, dude. Like this was so good. I had like everything. I even had, I don't know if you had these, because they had Marvel ones. I don't know if you ever had the Marvel ones.
I don't remember the Marvel.
So it's the same exact. I'm putting this back and I keep having to grab it. Same exact thing, right? But it's comic book version. Right. So it would be like Wolverine and Sabretooth and or Spider-Man and Green Goblin. So I had a bunch of those, and then they got smart, and the Spider-Man movies were coming out. So they made Spider-Man. They weren't called Galactic Heroes. They were called like Hero Squad or something like that. They made Spider-Man versions. So I had like Black Suit Spider-Man and like Harry Osborn as Green Goblin. Dude, banger. Top tier. I had like every Galactic Heroes or whatever. Like anything from that genre I had, whether it was Marvel or Star Wars. They even made Indiana Jones ones, bro. When Crystal Skull was coming out, I remember my mom got me one that had Indy and Mutt, I think is his name. It was like a 2-pack with the both of them. I even had that. Like, yeah, top tier, bro. I remember all that. Had the Falcon, had basically everything. I feel like you're looking something up right now.
I'm just looking at all these images of Galactic.
Yeah,
Heroes, man. It's getting nostalgic.
Dude, it is so good. It's so good. I think I told you I'd never ended up doing it. I told this to you like 2 years ago. I wanted to like, anytime I had excess money, I wanted to start rebuilding a Galactic Heroes collection, but not even for myself. I wanted to like do it to then give to like Grace's kids when she has kids.
Right.
Because like that's something that like Brian Myers, Kurt Hawkins talks about on their podcast is like he enjoys now, like he obviously buys toys for himself and stuff, but he enjoys buying kids stuff for his kids because he feels like he could relive his childhood a little bit, because he'll buy like old stuff from his childhood of like, here's these Lion King toys from the 90s, and so he gets to relive his childhood a little bit because he gets to rebuy these toys he had, but then he gives them to his kids to play with. So I would love to do that with like Galactic Heroes and like enjoy collecting them and whatnot, and then like give them to my nieces and nephews or whatever when they're of age and shit. That would be really cool. So at some point I got to do that. Right. So yeah, Galactic Heroes, top tier. WWE, that was my bread and butter. That was my number one. I love Galactic Heroes, but my number one was WWE. I still have a ton in the garage somewhere. I have a huge blue bin that is, you could barely even move it at this point, just full of WWE action figures. I don't know, I can go on. I'm trying to limit myself because I could just go on for hours and hours and hours. But yeah, this was my bread and butter. Every time I went to the store, that was the first thing I did. If I got another toy, if I got Galactic Heroes, it was because either A, my parents were being generous and letting me get 2 toys, or there was no WB figures I wanted, so I moved on. But WB was the first section I checked whenever I went to a store. I always had to see what was there. I had everything, bro. I had like, as a kid, I had like 4 or 5 rings. They used to make stages, like little kind of cardboard / plastic stages. I had like multiple of those. Yeah, every time I went to the store, I would have to look, and I would get so excited. Like, I had so many John Cena's and shit like that, so I would get really excited when I would find something kind of random. Like, I would find like Kid Cash, and I'd be like, gotta get that. I don't have a Kid Cash figure. I need that. Or Boogeyman. I remember one time, obviously I love Paul London so much, and I remember going to the store and seeing like a Paul London figure on the shelf. I never grabbed a fucking figure off the shelf so fast, bro. I was hyped that I found a Paul London figure. Rey Mysterio was like my number one guy as a kid, and I remember for some reason I could not find a Rey Mysterio figure anywhere. That's not like a problem. Even like, because Mattel, I'm talking about Jack specific. That was like when we were kids. Mattel, they did like, you know, they have the license. They've had the license since 2010. When I was a teenager, you could go to the store and see 80 Rey Mysterios hanging on the shelf. That was not a problem. For some reason, as a kid, I could not find a Rey Mysterio figure to save my life. and he was my number one guy. So I wanted a Rey Mysterio. I needed a Rey Mysterio. So I told my mom for, I think, my birthday, that's all I want. I was like, I just want a Rey Mysterio figure, Mom. I can't find it. I'm like 6 years old. I remember leaving school. This is when we were going to Bishop Larkin Catholic school. I remember it was like a Friday, and we left school, and I got in the van, and my mom handed me like an eBay box, and she was like, happy birthday. And I opened it, and it was a 2-pack with Rey Mysterio and Teddy Long, who I also love. I thought Teddy Long was so cool and whatnot. Made my whole week, bro. I was so excited. Finally had my Rey Mysterio. It was like Rey in like black gear or something like that, and then Teddy Long in like a pink suit. I was so hyped because now I had Rey Mysterio, but I also now had like a general manager for my Fig Fed because I didn't like have that. So I was like, not only do I get my favorite guy, but now I have like a authority figure for my Fig Fed. Made my whole year that year, bro. It was so good. So yeah, I gotta limit myself, but WB top tier. We'll probably have, or maybe I'll do a solo episode just talking about WB figures or something. I don't know, but yeah, that was my number one. I don't know what's your next one.
Oh. My number one toy is fucking Legos, bro. I was big on fucking.
That's Legos. Crazy. I totally forgot to even put that on my list, but it's so big.
I've been considering like just getting Legos again, just because like it's so cool,
Dude,
it's so collectible, and now it's
you should.
It's almost like started being marketed towards like adults and stuff.
You
like
can't
that.
see mine, but I have the Batman Batcave back there.
Yeah.
And I have even more in a box down here that I kind of threw in. They're so good, bro. I think you should start getting back into it.
But even like the classic sets and stuff like that. I remember getting like the classic sets like from like Star Wars and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Like I would get like the 2000's stuff, like where the clone troopers helmets still had like the little engraving for their like mask on the inside, and their heads were just like black to act as the Viper.
Yeah.
But that shit was so classic, bro. I remember playing with those so much. Even like outside of Star Wars, I would get like stuff for like Lego City. Like I'd have like a boat that I could like float in the pool and stuff like that. I'd have like
that was yeah. Lego City.
I gotta see if I can find my Lego.
So I had a ton of Star Wars, obviously, that I would use, but Lego City. I don't think Jack or Theo could hear me, so I'm just gonna be talking to myself. But I had a ton. Okay, I had a ton. Me and Grace's number one thing that we would play together was Legos, because we had like a mat, or like on the table. We would like set up on the table. We had like a giant green plate that we would put our houses on, and we would just play like Lego City, and we would just like be in our houses playing, and like we would have family, like we would play like house, but it would be with Lego City and like just Legos in general. We had so much. Like I obviously had like certain Star Wars sets and whatnot. Grace and I together would collect Lego City, so anytime we would go to like Toys R Us, we would always look and see like what's a new Lego City set that we can get. We had so many, bro. I remember my character that I would use was just Anakin Skywalker. Like I didn't have a ton of different stuff to like mix and match, so I was like, yeah, no, I'll just be Anakin. Like it was me. It wasn't Anakin Skywalker. It was me, but I would use an Anakin Skywalker like minifigure as myself. Yeah, top tier. We had everything. We had like a fire station, a police station. We had a shop, like a grocery store. We literally had everything for Lego City.
This is definitely kind of newer, but I did get this recently, which is super sick. It's like a Superman mech. It comes with a Lex Luthor. I don't know what I did with him, but
I have one of those.
I mean, I love Superman, so I thought
I have one of those too, but it's Wolverine. Same exact thing, but it's Wolverine.
That's nice. Yeah, they've been making a lot of these recently.
But I will say, you are not like a big collector of things. You don't really collect things, so I would recommend that you do really get back into Legos, because that could be like your one thing that you collect is like Lego sets.
I'm a yardstick collector, first off, and that's very fun.
Okay. Well, when it comes to
and far cheaper than Legos.
That is true. I'm not saying you should drain your whole bank account, but maybe once a month, if you got extra money, go get yourself a Lego set and start collecting for sure. Yeah. To add to that, though, I don't know if you had these Playmobil. I don't know if you had Playmobil.
Oh yeah, of course, Playmobil. Yeah, I didn't put it on my list, but I should have. I remember having like the. I think I had like the pirate ship. I think that was my.
Yes,
big
I remember
one.
you had the pirate ship.
The pirate ship.
Yes, that was another thing. Me and Grace, before we got into like Lego City, our Lego City would be Playmobil, because that would just be like, you can get a grocery store, you can get a van. We had like a camper. We had like a surf set that had like surfboards and like a pool that you could put actual water in the pool and like have your we went crazy on Playmobiles for sure. and Legos. Top
Do
tier.
you remember? Do you remember the Bat Cave one?
Mm-mm.
Dude, the Bat Cave one. I think that was one of the toys I wanted like the most as a kid that I never actually got was that Bat Cave Playmobil. That shit was so fucking cool. It came with like Batman, Robin, Joker.
Yeah, no.
It was.
Are
so
you talking
cool
about
looking.
Playmobil or Playmates?
I feel like it's Playmobil.
Okay, all right, yeah, look it up.
Maybe it's Playmates. I don't know. I may
But
be
I will move on to the next thing. The Ripstick. This was not a toy really for me. I think I just told you the story that pertains to this not too long ago. I don't know why. As a kid, I was never big into like skateboarding and things like that. That was definitely more Grace's territory. But for some reason, for Christmas, my parents decided to get me and Grace Ripsticks. For those that don't know what a Ripstick is, it was a skateboard that was manufactured for some reason to, I don't even know why they did this, but it was like designed for you to turn your hips so that the board would go like this for some reason.
right.
I don't know what the purpose was. Maybe it was just to get kids more active while they were on a skateboard or something like that, probably. But yeah, you would turn your hips and it would move the board like this and whatnot. So they got us both these for Christmas. So I remember like Christmas night, it was probably after, because we always had a Christmas party, which I'm going to talk about later. But it was probably after everybody left at like 10 o'clock or whatever. We went outside, like the four of us, me, Grace, my mom, my dad. We went outside and we were like trying to figure out these Ripsticks. And like Grace is Grace, bro. She can hop on anything and figure it out. And she's like, Grace is already halfway down the street ripping and sticking, bro. She's already doing that shit. Me, I'm like having to hold on to the car to try and get on it. And it's just not working out for me. I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is for me, guys. Like, hope you guys kept the receipt because this mine is probably going back. But I remember my dad was always very active as a kid. He both of our dads played sports, I believe, and things like that. But I'd say my dad's probably a little like more active, even like later on and stuff like that. So he's always intrigued by things like this. So I remember I was like, I think I'm done. Like I'm ready for bed. I'm out. And he decides to jump on this Ripstick. He got like halfway down the sidewalk and just fell off of this thing and landed on his ass. But he like obviously braced like this behind himself. So he landed on his ass, but his hands hit first. And I remember he didn't like break his wrist, but he did something to his wrist. Because I remember for like 3 months, he just had like, not a cast, but like one of those like black braces that he just wore. I don't know what that meant. He like sprained the shit out of his wrist, dude. But I just remember, rest in peace, Dad. But I just remember it was pretty funny to watch. Sorry, Dad, but it was pretty funny to watch.
I want to build off yours, and I'm gonna say the Razor scooter because that's what me and Rachel had as a kid.
I had that
shit
too.
was so much fun.
Yes,
dude. I remember me and her. We would always ride those things around in the neighborhood all the time.
Oh yeah.
I remember we tried to do like tricks with them and stuff like that. We would obviously just be continuously hitting our shins with it and just being in an immense amount of pain because that's what you just do in the 2000s as a kid. That shit was so fun.
Core 2000s kid pain was shin hitting a Razor scooter or stepping on a Lego.
If you didn't do either of those things as a kid, if not both, I don't think you lived.
Bro, I remember
2000s as a kid.
Lego is no joke, bro. Like obviously they talk about when you step on it, it hurts, and it does. I remember one time I stepped on one, but it was on like the side of my foot, and it sliced my foot open. Like I had a cut on the side of my foot.
They can definitely like
cut and I remember I was like 10. I had like a cut on the side of my. I had to wear a Band-Aid on my foot. It was crazy, bro. Yeah, the Razor scooter. I definitely had a Razor scooter. I was not a bike kid. I did have a bike, and I learned how to ride a bike. It's been a while for me. If I had to get on a bike now, I'd have to. It might take me a minute. I could probably figure it out though. But yeah, so I knew how to ride a bike, but I just was not a big bike kid. Gracie. Not only was Gracie a bike kid, Gracie was doing tricks. Like Gracie was going down the sidewalk doing bunny hops off the curb and shit like that, right? I was a scooter kid. I was more with you guys. I had a Razor scooter. That's what I would ride. Me and Grace would go around the neighborhood. She had her bike. I had my scooter. Like that was definitely, yeah. Scooter for sure was my vibe.
Me and Rach were scooter kids, but I think more so we were just kind of a bike family. Like we all had bikes, and we would always like bike around like once a week or something like that.
Right.
Like we'd just like bike up and down like hills and stuff like that. More so as like a after dinner, hey, let's go relax and bike around the neighborhood.
Right.
That was always what we did.
Yeah, I had a bike. I knew how to ride a bike, and I would use it obviously from time to time. But as I got older, I think I used it more. I was more of a scooter kid for sure. My next toy, Power Rangers, bro. this is up there for me, like Star Wars or what WWE was. I had so many Power Rangers. I still love Power Rangers. I still talk about it. I have a whole group chat with my boys where we just talk about it. Yeah, I love Power Rangers. So as a kid, the possibilities were endless because there was always every year there was a new team. So there was like 5 to 6 new Power Rangers that had new designs and whatnot. So yeah, I can just kind of leave it at that. Like I just had so many. Time Force is my favorite season. I had Time Force figures. I had Wild Force figures. I had Mystic Force. I had everything up until like I think SPD or Mystic Force was like where I cut it off. That's where I was like, okay, I'm kind of out. But up until then, like everything before that, I had so many toys. I didn't really have like play sets. I didn't have many villains. I just had the Rangers. That's all I cared about. I only wanted the Rangers, but I had so many of them, bro. So many. I had Morphers. That was also fun as a kid. You would get like a toy Morpher, so you could pretend that you were a Power Ranger and things like that. I don't know how many you had because you weren't like super big into Power Rangers, but I do remember one. I remember you had like this red Dino Thunder Ranger, and I remember I didn't have that, and so like I wasn't trying to scam you or anything like that, but I was trying to like negotiate a trade of like, hey, do you want this like Star Wars toy? Like, do you want this Luke Skywalker that I probably already have another Luke Skywalker, and I'll trade you for this red Dino Thunder Ranger or something like that? And like you were down because you don't give a fuck about Power Rangers, right? So you were down, but it was one of those things where like our parents intervened because they probably thought I was trying to get rid of some shitty toy and take one of your new toys, which wasn't the case. But I remember like our parents kiboshed the deal, and I was just very disappointed.
That's fucking great. I think I do remember that toy that you're talking about. I wasn't that big on it. I don't really remember all that much, but you did bring back the memory of it for me. But my next toy, I think I'm going to just do a 2-for-1 here because I feel like they're both around the same time, and I have both like equal amount of nostalgia for both of them. But it's Beyblades and Bakugans, stuff like that. Those were always very fun for me. I remember collecting a bunch of like Beyblade stuff, like the arenas, different parts for the Beyblades. Like you would have like the handle for it and everything. And they definitely knew what they were doing with like the marketability of it, with like the whole like catchphrase of like "let it rip,"
Let it
like they knew rip. That shit was so fun to do, like after school with like all your friends, just have like this mini Beyblade tournament and stuff like that. Of just like your Beyblade versus my Beyblade. Oh, let me use this guy. Let me use that guy. Let me build this guy. That was always super fun. Same thing with like Bakugan, because those were always like so different and colorful and whatnot, and just how they would like spring open on the cards and stuff like that. And it was very like strategic how you can play that. Those were all very fun.
Here's where I think the 2-year age gap comes into play. I was not a Beyblade or Bakugan kid. That was a Grace thing, but Grace is your age. Like, you guys are the same age. So I think I had just kind of grown out of that stuff at that time, maybe. But I do remember them because obviously I would play like Bakugans and Beyblades with Grace. But it wasn't like something. I think I maybe had a couple once she got into it. Maybe I had a couple of my own, but it was not like my thing. I kind of only did it with her. I think the 2-year age gap comes into play here because my Beyblades or Bakugan was Pokemon cards, and I don't remember you.
I have like I have Pokemon cards. I have Yu-Gi-Oh cards as well. I have both.
Both of those. That was more my Bakugan and Beyblades. It was like I would, and I didn't even really know how to play the games. I just like collecting the cards. And then, like,
the cards were
me and kids in the neighborhood would try and play the games, but we didn't know it. So most of the time, we would just try and, like, trade cards. Like, oh, I have an extra Blue Eyes White Dragon. Let me take your Slifer, the Sky Dragon, and things like that. So, yeah, me and the kids in the neighborhood would, like, trade cards and whatnot. I definitely finessed a few kids out of some pretty good cards for some pretty shitty cards. But
I think that's where I think Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh are a little bit out of this range, or not exactly out of this range. It's just they've been around since like the 90s, and they're still around today. So it's like I think a lot of people probably have nostalgia for this, regardless of like where you are on that like that time.
Right. But yeah, to kind of add to it, Happy Meal toys, and I say that because there was a couple of Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon Happy Meal toys. Not Happy Meal, I think they were Burger King, but Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh were like Burger King Happy Meal toys for sure. But the McDonald's ones, I'm mainly talking about, that is another huge part of like 2000s kids. The toys were so much better. You see the toys now, they're nothing, bro. The toys now are horrible. Anytime there's a new like Marvel movie, they just take the same concept of like these stupid big head toys that are on a stand. The toys that we had as kids were way better. We had actual toys in a Happy Meal toy. And such, like, it would be something huge like Batman or Spider-Man, and then like 1 month it'd be like flushed away, like so random, but for some reason flushed away.
It's just
Happy
like
Meal toys.
any movie that's coming out at the time, like any kids movie, they would have like toys for it. And even when it wasn't like any sort of movie coming out, there would always be some sort of branding like Hello Kitty or something like that.
It was very rare
Star Wars,
that they did their own thing. It was always like an IP that was attached to it. And even like now, I don't pay attention, but I don't think there's really Burger King toys. Like, I don't, like, there's kids meals, but I think they give you like a little activity pack rather than a toy. No. When we were kids, Burger King had fucking toys, brother. Like,
they had toys.
I remember they had Star Wars a ton. They had like, McDonald's only had Star Wars like once or twice. Burger King had Star Wars like 3 times. They had a whole line for Revenge of the Sith when it came out. That I have one. I have like the Anakin Vader one or whatever. Like, yeah. So the Happy Meal toys in general were definitely way better when we were kids because they actually existed. Whereas now it's pretty much just McDonald's. Every other like fast food chain just gives you like a little pamphlet to fill out or something instead of an actual toy. So that's a big one between McDonald's, Burger King. I feel like even Wendy's had some that we liked. I think we still have on our Christmas tree, we have an ornament that was from Wendy's. That it was an ornament, but it was a toy. It was like when the Grinch came out. It was like, it's like Max, like snow sledding or something like that. And it was like a dreidel kind of that you would spin around, but it had a rope on it. And so it was like a toy, but it was an ornament. We still have it on our Christmas tree every year to this day. From like 2002 Wendy's. I'll have to show it to you like this year. So yeah, my last two for toys, again, I could go on for hours and hours. Trampoline, top tier. That was a great toy. I wanted it so bad. I finally got it. My parents definitely regretted it because my trampoline turned from a trampoline into a wrestling ring. And I genuinely was beating the living hell out of the kids in the neighborhood, bro. Because I'm not like a trained wrestler as a little kid, but I wanted to wrestle. So I would literally have like the kids in the neighborhood come, and I would just like hit moves on them until I fucked one up and one of them started crying. It was messed up.
That's always when the playtime stopped, is when someone started crying.
Yes. So yeah, but there was a couple older kids in my neighborhood that like we had actual trampoline wrestling fed, like me and the older kids, where it wasn't just me hitting moves on them. Like we would actually have actual matches, and I had like the Jack Pacific like belts. I had a ton of those, so like we would put belts on the line and things like that. That was fun because we would have like actual matches and storylines and things like that. But when it came to like the younger kids, they'd be like, "Hit me with a power bomb," and I would hit them with a power bomb, and then like they'd like get the wind knocked out of them and run home crying. So if anybody from my neighborhood is watching, which they're not, but if they are, I apologize. I was just having fun. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody, but I definitely hurt a couple people. I remember Logan got a trampoline for his birthday. It was like his 7th birthday. The trampoline didn't last a day, bro. He got a trampoline for his birthday. He still brings this up to me too. This is like his only. He loves me. We're great. We're close. This is his only trauma with me, is that he got a trampoline for his like 7th birthday. We were playing on it, and I hit him with a power bomb and knocked the wind out of him, and he started crying, and it ruined the whole birthday party because he was like having a mental breakdown. And then the next time I went over, the trampoline was gone. So not only did I scare the shit out of him, I also got his trampoline taken away from him. So. And he still brings it up. He won't let me live it down. So I'm sorry, Logan. But yeah. So that and Star Wars. I had a ton of Star Wars figures. I know you had Star Wars figures.
Of course.
More specifically, though, I've
unlocked it or re-unlocked essentially a core memory between me and Rachel. Okay. I had this little camcorder back when I was like 9 or 10 or something like that. And I had this Darth Vader figure, and we would run around with this camcorder with this Darth Vader figure, just pretending like he's just running frantically around the house, making like screaming noises. So the camcorder is just picking up this toy 6-inch tall Darth Vader, just running around our house, just going like.
Oh man.
And for some reason, me and my sister were just crying, laughing the entire time as we would just run up and down the stairs into different bedrooms and stuff like that. He would be like looking around frantically, and it got to a point where we would shake him around so much that he would just start like breaking apart.
Oh my god. That's great.
It's so fucking funny, man. If I had any fucking video from my childhood that I could get back, I'd want it to be that. That
that's
shit
great.
was so funny.
Specifically, though, I'm talking about. I had a ton of figures, but I'm more so talking about the lightsabers, and the Vader mask.
Oh, of course.
So
This is why Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber is like my favorite lightsaber of all time, because I had that lightsaber as a kid, and that was always like the one I'd go to first because it was so cool.
So for Christmas one year, I think it was like 2006, maybe 2005, I got the electronic Darth Vader mask. And apparently my dad, I remember being in the living room. This is like our old house, obviously, not this house. I remember, so, I don't know, do you remember the layout? You remember the living room of that old house? It was like right when you...
Yeah.
So I remember sitting on the floor Christmas morning. I was sitting on the floor in between like the living room and the kitchen before you get in, or the family room and the kitchen before you get into the living room. So we were in the family room, like right when you walk in that room where the couches would be and shit. That's where we would always open presents and things like that. So I was sitting like in between that and the kitchen kind of. And I remember my dad handing this to me. And like my dad was busy. So my mom always would do like the shopping, whether it was for groceries or, Christmas. Like she would always do that stuff. She was taking care of the house, right? So she would always do the shopping. So she did like all of our Christmas shopping. And like my mom will talk about it to this day where like for years, my mom would handle all of it. And my dad, he wanted to like be involved, but he couldn't because he was busy working. And he also had to pay for all these toys. So he had to be working, right? So my mom talks about it where she's like, if you ever had any doubts of how much your dad loved you, this is the story where she would say like, I would do all the Christmas shopping, but the night before when we would put the toys out, your father, it would all be wrapped up. So he wouldn't know because she would wrap them all. So he had no clue, but he would be putting the toys under the tree and stuff. She was like, your father would not stop asking me what each toy was because he didn't want us opening toys and him not knowing. He wanted to know what each toy was so that he could connect with us when we open the toy. He's not surprised. He wanted to know so he could be like, oh yeah, buddy, look at that. Yeah, I'm glad you got that. You know what I'm saying? So she's like, if you ever have any doubts about that, he would literally at 3 a.m. be asking me what each toy was so that he would know and he could like be excited with you rather than just like being like completely oblivious. But I remember he handed me this gift and he was like, I picked this one out, which I don't know, maybe he didn't, but I'm assuming he actually did pick it out. He's like, I picked this one out. This isn't from Santa. Like, I picked this one out at the store. And I opened it, and it was the electronic Darth Vader voice-changing helmet. Best gift that Christmas, bro. I ripped it right out of the box, and the whole day I was just running around talking like Darth Vader for the whole day. So that's one big one. But the lightsabers, yes. I have one of them back there. It's so it's right there where my screen mask is. I have another. That one is Kane and Jarrus's, but this one right here is like the toy one from when we were kids. Somebody gave me that like a couple years ago, but it has like the red pull down button and everything. That one's Anakin's, but I didn't really have Anakin's as a kid. I had an electronic Anakin one that I got, but the ones we're talking about, the red one, like the red button ones, yeah, I only had Qui-Gon ones, but the thing was they took that hilt and then they just made every color. So there's like a red Qui-Gon, there's a green Qui-Gon, there's a blue Qui-Gon, there's a purple Qui-Gon. I had a blue and a purple. And the purple one was always like my main that I always used. And me and Grace would just like beat the shit out of each other with these things for hours every day. Right. And she didn't even like Star Wars. But we would just like sword fight throughout the house with our Qui-Gon Jinn red and purple lightsabers or whatever. So that's another big one was, yeah, those red. I just so distinctively remember that red button that you would have to push down and flick and the lightsaber would come out.
It had like the arrow pointing downwards. Right,
and you would have to do that. Because I'm like, I don't know what other way to explain this other than saying the one with the red button. Because I could be like, oh yeah, it's a toy lightsaber, but there's a million toy lightsabers. So I'm like, the only way I can explain this is the red button flick one. That's all I can. But it was just so cool. Like, you would hit that button, and then you would flick it, and you would just aura farm with your toy lightsaber, pretending you were Anakin or Vader or Mace Windu or Obi-Wan or somebody. Yeah, really cool times. But yeah, then I had like an electronic Anakin one that like you would hit a button and it would shoot out, and there would be like lights and sound and stuff. So then that one became my main one because obviously that one was way cooler. But yeah, that's kind of like all the toys. I could go for hours and hours for me, but I kind of limited. I don't know if you have any other you want to add.
Not really. I mean, I have like Transformers and Hot Wheels on here, but they're more so just like because every kid.
Yeah, I remember I had a Bumblebee. Like when the first movie came out, I got into Transformers like really hardcore. But then like I was into Transformers really hardcore for like 2 months during the movie, and then like I didn't care about them. I felt like I always would transform them, and then I could never figure out how to get them back into like their car shape. So like I would just be like, okay, this is boring. But I remember I had like a Bumblebee for sure, and I had a couple Hot Wheels, of course, Matchbox cars, things like that. But yeah, shows though, I'll just list all these off: Power Rangers, WWE, Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. That's like the core shit. Again, Power Rangers, I love. I watched like so many seasons of Power Rangers and loved it. WWE was my number one as a kid. I never missed an episode of anything. I watched every Raw, every SmackDown, every ECW. I didn't watch pay-per-views because my dad was not spending $50 a month, so I didn't get to see the pay-per-views. But I remember I would know when the pay-per-views were, and then before school, I made this a point. If there was a pay-per-view that Monday, I would get dressed. I would wake up earlier, get dressed really quick for school, and run to my parents' computer so I could look at the results before I went to school, so I could see because they would always post the results on WWE.com. But I always wanted to know what was happening before Raw that night because obviously I would watch Raw later. But I wanted to know, so I would like quickly at like 8 a.m, look at the results, and then go to school, and then come home and watch Raw. But throughout school, I'd be like, "Oh my god, like Randy Orton won the WWE title. How the hell? What's John Cena gonna do?" Like throughout the whole day, I would just be contemplating, like, "What's John Cena gonna do? What's Rey Mysterio gonna do?" So yeah, Disney Channel, of course, big one for us. We loved it all. Sweet Life, Hannah Montana, That's So Raven, all of that. We've watched all of that. Nickelodeon, same thing. Big Time Rush and iCarly and Drake and Josh. Cartoon Network was really a Theo thing, but I obviously still honestly Cartoon Network is where I say like, oh, I didn't really watch Cartoon Network, but I have to give it credit because that's where obviously Clone Wars was, but that's where I found out about Dragon Ball and Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon because that's where all three of those were. Pokemon, yeah. So I will give Cartoon Network credit because that's where my love for Dragon Ball and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh kind of came from because I'd watch the show and then I would go get the cards. Or I had a couple, going back to toys, I had a couple of Dragon Ball toys. I had like a Goku and a Vegeta and things like that. So, yeah, I will give Cartoon Network its credit because without Cartoon Network, I probably wouldn't have as much love for those three shows as I obviously do. So,
yeah. I have a shit ton of shows I could list off here, but I mean, it's all kind of like the same vibes pretty much. I mean, I have a bunch of shows from a lot of them. I'll probably just name off like the big ones, honestly, for me. Definitely Teen Titans.
Yep.
Codename Kid Next Door. Courage the Cowardly Dog. Both the Clone Wars shows. Both of them were gas. Let's see here. Ben 10. Ooh. I was crazy on Ben 10.
I wasn't as big on it, but I did watch it a couple
obviously,
times.
Obviously, Pokemon's on there for sure. The Justice League shows were also
dude.
Very good. I was
Bangers,
bro. Bangers.
That's how I found out about Martian Manhunter. Was through that Justice League
Oh my god, Martian Manhunter is so cool. That's how I found out about Jon Stewart Green Lantern, bro. He was so cool too. SpongeBob obviously is up there. Danny Phantom I think is super sick. Obviously Drake and Josh is on there. iCarly, Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron.
Oh yeah.
I forgot I put this on here. Wonder Pets.
Yep.
Wonder Pets was amazing. Phineas and Ferb obviously has to be up there for me. This is a similar situation to Wonder Pets. I put Mickey Mouse Clubhouse up here, which was obviously very, very good.
My God, yes, Kim Possible. Do you remember Handy Manny, bro? I feel like I had no reason watching that because I was definitely older, but I think it was one of those things like sometimes. Sorry again to cut you off, but like sometimes before school, I would like as I was getting ready for school, I would turn the TV on, or like my dad would turn the TV on as everybody was like getting ready for work and school and things like that. And so like when it's like 8 a.m, Disney Channel's not on. It was like Playhouse Disney, and so I think even though I was probably like 8 or 9. I was watching Handy Manny because I would watch like an episode or two as I was getting dressed and stuff like that. So again, I wasn't like a baby watching this stuff. I was older, but I used to fucking love Handy Manny, bro. That shit was fire. Or Bob the Builder too. Bob the Builder was fire.
Right, Bob. Oh my God, how did I forget Bob the
Yep.
Builder? I could have put that in others. I do have like a others category, which has like a few other random shows that aren't really like a part of those like big three of like cartoons
Right.
and whatnot. Like Clifford the Big Red Dog, I got up there. I got Thomas the Train
Oh, yeah.
up there. Teletubbies.
Little Einsteins.
Obviously, I have the Muppets up there.
You remember Little Einsteins?
Which one? Little Einsteins. I remember
Backyardigans.
That one
Same
I think
thing.
was Disney.
Yeah.
Backyardigans. Same
Little
thing,
Einsteins
yeah.
was played as Disney. Was Backyardigans
Right, yeah.
Backyardigans Nick Jr.?
I think that was
Yeah,
Nick Jr.
that was
I'm
fire.
pretty sure.
The song that shit went viral a couple years ago. The Backyardigans songs and stuff
It
like
did.
that. Yeah,
But, like, what, like
it was like
fucking 8 years
no,
ago?
I feel like it was like 2020 or something. I feel like it was like the pandemic. I remember seeing TikToks. Somebody used a song. Maybe it's not the theme song. They used a song from Backyardigans and it was like viral on TikTok. But
Oh, like the Super
Yes,
Spy
yes,
song?
yes, that's
Is
what it
that
was,
the one
yes.
you're talking? Yeah, okay, that okay. I thought you meant like the
Yeah.
theme song. I felt like that blew up a little bit earlier, but yeah. I
Phineas and
remember what
Ferb
you're
is
talking
another one. Yep. It's coming
about.
back. I think it's back.
I just watched.
Oh.
Hold on, because it is
Yep.
back. Because I just watched the first episode of it today. Fucking crazy,
I'm gonna have
bro.
to check it out.
Because you know how it's like, I don't want to exactly spoil it for you, but I mean it is like the main plot point of the episode. But it definitely like threw me in for a loop. But because usually it follows the theme of like they make the invention and then something happens with Doofenshmirtz to where the invention gets like flown away or destroyed or something like that. But there's a twist in this episode that really threw me in for a
Uh-oh.
loop,
Okay.
and I think you're gonna
All
enjoy it. I don't
I'm
wanna
gonna
spoil
watch it
but
after
it's very good.
we're done filming everything. Yeah. So yeah, shows, great shows. iCarly, Big Time Rush, all that stuff. Victorious is another one too.
That one I'd say is a little bit later because that's obviously like why I didn't have like Adventure Time or regular show on there because I think that's more like
Right.
2010s for me.
Oh shit, what was another one I just thought of? Oh, Zoe 101. I don't know if you watch Zoe 101.
Oh, I didn't watch too much of Zoe 101.
Me
but I
and
do
Grace
remember.
watched we didn't. I think maybe it was probably more reruns rather than it being like active, but we definitely watched a good bit of Zoe 101. Yeah, movie wise, I know you said you couldn't think of, so I just listed some that I think
It's
of.
not that I couldn't.
No,
think
right,
of
you
them,
thought
it's
of too
that
many.
It would have like
Right,
crippled my
right.
list.
So, I have four. I have four that I will
Okay.
just off rip. Prequels, that's the number one.
Is Fantastic Four one of
Prequels,
them?
number one. Couldn't go anywhere without seeing Anakin
yeah.
Skywalker or Obi-Wan or Jango Fett's face on something. It was everywhere. Of
course.
So the prequels, that's like the number one probably movies of our childhood for sure. The Sam Raimi trilogy, of course, banger, top tier.
course.
Same thing. You would see Spider-Man everywhere. I had so many Spider-Man toys that were centered around the Raimi suit. You know what I'm saying? That it was Spider-Man, but it wasn't just a comic book Spider-Man. It was like the Raimi Spider-Man. The Fantastic Four, 1 and 2, same thing. Grew up with those. Even the X-Men, that's another one too. And Pixar, obviously. We grew up with Pixar.
Pixar, Disney
Yeah.
were fucking banging throughout the 2000s, bro.
Some of them are like 90s,
That's what-
late
yeah.
90s, but I'll include it because we grew up
Right.
with like Toy Story 1, 2, Incredibles, Monsters Inc., just Cars, yeah, just everything like that. Just so good. And Pixar's still cooking to this day. They still make great movies, but
Wally, bro. Wally's one
yeah,
of my favorites.
they're still cooking.
I love
They
Wall-E.
still make great movies, but I feel like our movies are like I feel like a lot of their movies now are sequels of our movies. You know what I'm saying? They're making a
Right,
Toy Story
that's what it
5
is, yeah.
for whatever reason. Like they're all the IPs that were most successful for them were the ones that were around when we were kids. So yeah,
Right.
those are just some quick movies. And then the rest of the stuff I have here is just like memories, just family memories and things like that.
I have a good number of videos.
Okay, yeah, I kind of
I
skipped
can
over that,
remember
but we'll go into it. Go for it.
I have what I like to call the Lego Holy Trinity video
Yes.
games. I have Star Wars: The Complete Saga. I have Lego Batman 1, and I have Lego Indiana Jones. To me, that was my fucking like trinity of Lego games that were just like peak after peak after
Yes.
peak. I loved all that shit.
Top
Wii Sports, obviously,
the
one of the most popular video
Lego
games of all time.
I remember this. I feel like it may have been the big time run. Do you know when Lego Star Wars 2 came out? The like original trilogy?
Lego Star Wars, like that was like 2000, like what, like 6,
Something like
7?
that.
Something
I
around
remember as a kid. This is typical Theo. To this day, this is still your personality. I remember we were going somewhere, like as a family, and I don't remember the whole thing, so I don't remember the logistics. But there was a plan for us to do something, and you did not want to do it. You were like, I don't want to go. Like, maybe we were just going to dinner or we were going to a movie or something. You were like, I don't want to do it. And I remember being a little kid and just being like, yo, Jack, why don't you want to go with us? Why don't you want to, you know what I'm saying? And you were just like, I have to play Lego Star Wars. Because I think it was like your birthday had just passed. And so that was one of your birthday gifts was Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. And so, like,
Right.
That's all you were playing. That's all you were doing. You were locked in on Lego Star Wars 2. And so I remember, whatever we were doing as a family, you, like, either Grandma Judy stayed with you or something, but you found a way to stay home so you could just binge play the original trilogy Lego Star Wars game. And that is still you to this day. You would still, if you are locked in on a game, you'll be like, yeah, no, I don't feel like going to dinner because I have to play whatever this game. I want to play whatever this game is. That is still you to this day.
I don't think that's true. I don't
know,
that's
bro.
True.
I feel like it might be. But that's just a funny little memory. Is I remember you just being like, no, I can't go see that movie because I have to play Lego Star Wars.
Well, I had to, obviously.
And I remember, in that house, that's another just memory. I remember in that house that you guys were at. I remember your room with the bunk beds and the TV over on the side. Yep. And I remember us playing Lego Star Wars in your room. On like, it was probably Thanksgiving or something like that. We were at your house, and I remember us sitting on the floor playing Lego Star Wars 2.
That's another memory that I have that you just kind of reminded me of. I remember this was like when Skyrim came out because I was like big in Skyrim and stuff like that, and it was in that room, I'm pretty sure. And I was playing the game, and I think I like left to do something else, like maybe it was like dinner or homework or something like that, and I completely forgot about it. And I woke up at like 3 a.m. and I saw my console was on, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I turned my TV on, and it's just my Skyrim character standing there in the middle of a cave, and the camera is just circling around him, and I'm staring at this like, what the fuck is going on
That's
right
great.
now?
That's great. But what are some other video games?
Yeah, I've got Wii Sports, obviously the big one. I think that's probably
Especially
one of the biggest games.
Wii
of all
Sports
time.
is what for us.
No, for you.
Yes.
Honestly, for you, because I think Wii Sports regular is just bigger for me and my whole family.
No, sure, but I am just thinking of that fucking summer house, bro. Because that's all we played. Wii Sports
I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking of. That's not. I'm trying to keep it on the 2000s though.
Okay.
That's
Right.
definitely more of like a 2010s sort of thing. Nintendogs was the same thing, but I think that was kind of huge. That was super fun. Webkins, I remember we would play a lot of Webkins at your house more specifically. That was
Webkins is still around.
Guitar
too.
Hero.
There is a
There
is a classic version that is like the original game, and there's like a new updated version that people have been playing. So I thought that was pretty cool. Me and Grace were talking about it the other day because we were like, we may need to go on to like this classic version and see what we can do because it's literally just a copy and paste of the original game.
Guitar Hero. That was another
Slash
big one for
Rock
sure.
Band as well.
Slash Rock Band, same thing. Yep. Club Penguin. That was a big one for sure. I don't know if you remember this game. This game came out like kind of in conjunction and developed alongside the Clone Wars show back in 2008, but it was called Clone Wars Adventures. It was this like online MMO game that takes place in the Clone Wars universe where oh my god, it was so fucking good, bro. You could play as like you could like create your own character and it could be like a bunch of different races. You could be like a Jedi or a Sith or a clone
I
trooper or a
was
bounty
too busy
hunter.
playing KOTOR.
Yeah, that's your problem. That was your problem. You shouldn't have been playing KOTOR. You should have been playing this because this was so
I don't
much
think I
fucking
remember it.
fun, and it would develop alongside the show. So when like the Umbara arc like was going on, they would add Umbara to the game, and you can like go to Umbara and like fight like the Umbarans and stuff like
If I have
that.
to
They would add like
work for
Dathomir and you
Pong
could fight
Krell,
the
I'm
Night
out.
Sisters.
I'm out.
I don't think it could work for Pong. He was probably like a boss or something like
Right.
that. I can't remember.
But yeah, I don't
specifically.
think,
I ever made it that
I
far.
don't think I remember that.
You gotta look this.
But
game
there's
up,
a
though.
couple
it
of,
was fucking generational.
Online like flash games, like website games. I remember like on the Disney Channel website. There, do you remember the Sweet Life one where you'd have to like go through the hotel and stuff like that? There's like that. There was one. It wasn't even attached to an IP, but it was on the Disney Channel website. I don't remember what it was called, but you would run your own business. And me and Grace played that so much. You could pick a boy or a girl, and like if you were a boy, you could open like a comic book store, a video game store, or like a dresser or something like that, or a barbershop. And if you were a girl, you could open up like a dog like salon, a normal salon, and then there was like a boutique or something like that. Me and Grace played that game like crazy, bro. I wish I remember what it was called.
And then obviously I've got Mario Kart Wii on here. I've got Super Smash Brothers Brawl on here, and then Pokemon Diamond, the best Pokemon game. I don't care.
Yeah, I remember. Awesome. I had that for the DS, and I remember me and my family went to like Washington D.C. for like summer vacation or whatever. Like we were in New York, and we went to D.C. and stuff like that. I remember the whole trip. I just binge played that game in the backseat of the car the whole time. So, yes, top tier. A couple more I will add though. I don't know if were you done? I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, that was the end of it.
A couple more I will add because there wasn't a ton of. You didn't say a ton of like PlayStation games and things like that, but like obviously my favorite game, Saints Row and Saints Row 2, more specifically, those were great. Vice City, San Andreas, games like that. Disney Extreme Skate Adventure, which you didn't play, but I introduced you to on the original Xbox. That was fun. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, that was another game I played like crazy. Dragon Ball Tenkaichi, like games like that I used to play a lot. Like tons of games.
Oh my god, how the fuck did I miss Little Big Planet, bro? That was
your whole personality for like a year straight.
That was gas. Dude, I love
that. Yeah, you
game,
hyperfixated hard.
So good.
Obviously the WWE games. That was like, and that was your introduction to like wrestling, because like either you would come to my house and we would play them, or like we would play them together at your house as we got a little bit older. But I remember you would come to my house when we were little, and like you would play them because like I don't know, that's all I wanted to play, I guess. I remember.
That's all you wanted to play. That's what it was.
I remember my 10th birthday. I got the TNA video game. You won't even remember this. I got the TNA video game for my 10th birthday, and obviously you were there at the party. You were playing this game, so it's a funny like thing. You were playing, like, you don't watch TNA, you don't have much knowledge of it, but you were playing the TNA video game like when it dropped.
I remember playing the game.
You were,
because I think I would always pick like Shark Boy because he was just
that was your first non-WWE wrestler you knew about was probably Shark Boy. So yeah, all the like wrestling games, obviously we have fond memories of those, GM mode and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of my video games, I guess. Yeah, the rest of this stuff is kind of just all like memories. School, I hated school, but like the vibe of school is kind of nostalgic to me and whatnot. Do you remember like obviously like school lunches, school breakfast? Did you ever get like school breakfast? Because that was like optional, obviously.
Not really until like high school or stuff like that. I don't think I really started like
we used to, because so they used to have this thing at my school. This is like obviously before River Ridge, like, and it was when we went to Moon Lake. So this is like Moon Lake Elementary. They had like, it was almost like a hot pocket. It was like a little, it almost looked like a dinner roll, but it was stuffed with like egg and cheese and sausage. Best thing ever. I wish I knew what they were called so I could just buy a box of them and keep them in my freezer because they were so good. But my mom used to force us to get breakfast in the morning because they had the graham cracker peanut butter and jellies, and my mom loved those. So she would have us go in and she would give us like an extra $2 so we can get her one and then run back out to the car and give it to her. And then we would go back in and get our breakfast. So yeah, school breakfast, school lunch could be hit or miss, but sometimes it would hit. Especially at River Ridge, it was way better. In elementary school, it kind of sucked. We were joking about it, the fucking Bosco sticks and $8 snack bar chicken sandwiches and cookies that left a really weird aftertaste in your mouth.
The fucking, for me, it was always those like the cherry brownie bar things. Those things I would always get like one like every fucking day.
But even like holidays at school were always fun. Valentine's Day would be fun because everybody would get like the Valentine. What the fuck were they called? Like Valentine's cards or whatever.
The candy grams?
Maybe. I'm talking about like the little pieces of like paper that would have like John Cena on it, or like, you know what I'm saying? When you would hand somebody.
Oh, just
right,
the
cards. Yeah, cards. Those are nostalgic because They would have everybody, SpongeBob, Powerpuff Girls, Power Rangers, Star Wars, Marvel, like every IP had them, so those were fun. My mom had to like force me to like switch it up because I would either just pick like the WB ones or the Star Wars ones, and my mom was like, "No girl in your class wants to get like a Seamus Valentine's card. Like, get something else." So yeah, holidays at school were fun. Christmas, Christmas in general at school, at home, that is one of the most nostalgic things about the 2000s for me. Great times. My family, I said it earlier, my side of the family, or my family in general, like we would always do Christmas. Jack or Theo's family would always do Thanksgiving, so we would always go to his house for Thanksgiving, and they would always come to our house for Christmas, along with the rest of my family. Sometimes friends, sometimes our parents' friends that we did not want there because they were annoying, but always found a way to come back. But Christmas in general was always fun. I always loved the feeling, especially as I got a little older, the feeling of Christmas when it was like, oh shit, everybody's gonna be here in 3 hours, so start cleaning, like start getting everything in shape.
Right.
Especially too, when I was younger, it would be funny because we would open presents in the morning, so it'd be like, you guys would always come over like 3 o'clock, so we'd open presents at like 10 or 11, and then put our presents away, and then we would start cleaning the house. But it would always be funny because my parents, we would open presents, we would take them in this house, we would take them upstairs, I would put them in my room, and then I would start fucking with them because I'd be like, oh my god, I wanna play this game, or I wanna open this figure. So I would come up here, and I was supposed to be like drop them off and go back downstairs to clean, and I'd be up here for like 30 minutes until my dad would be like freaking out and like would be screaming up the stairs being like, what the F are you doing? Meanwhile, I'm like playing like Far Cry 3.
Right.
So that I would get in trouble and I'd have to go downstairs and help out. But yeah, so just in general, like holidays in the 2000s were fun. I said this to you when we were at Moon Lake. It was right next to our neighborhood. So instead of our parents having to like drive to the school, we had like a little gate, and a teacher would like walk us across the street, and then we would be able to walk home. I have fond memories of that, especially too, like at some point they put in like a bike rack, so then we could like put our bikes there. So like me and Grace, I have fond memories of us just like riding our bikes home from school with our book bags and stuff like that. What else do I have? Family in general.
I feel like for me, in terms of like holidays, I feel like the most nostalgic one I have is always like Halloween, because I can like vividly remember like a lot of my costumes and stuff like that. Because I remember I had the Captain Rex costume going on, I had the Jack Sparrow costume going on. That was always super fun. I remember one year, my entire family except for Rachel, because this was when like Madagascar like 2 or 3 was coming out, and the big song for that movie was like Afro Circus, in where they would all wear like rainbow afros and like polka dotted clothing and stuff like that. So me and my parents did that for Halloween, but Rachel did not want to do that. All she wanted to be a vampire, and so we would all go around like this, and Rachel would just be this vampire with 3 Afro Circus people.
I remember this,
following her, dancing and singing. It was so fucking.
My Halloween was always great. My dad, my dad loved to go all out for Halloween with the house. So like, some people just put up a couple lights or what. No, my dad wanted to make our house as cinematic as can be. So he basically turned the outside of our house into like a haunted house. And even when we got older, you and I would be out there scaring people with shovels and things like that.
The fucking zombie costumes. We'd be dead on the grass, and then people would walk up and
grab their leg or some stupid shit. So yeah, I have fond memories of that because I remember like it would be cooler out. You know what I'm saying? It would be nice and cool out, and like me and my dad would be out there on like a Saturday, putting everything up and like setting everything up. My Halloween costumes, 5 years straight, I was just a Power Ranger. I just got whatever like the Red Ranger was that year. I was just Power Ranger.
I remember.
I have some photos of that. I was Rocky Balboa one year. That was fun. So yeah, fun Halloween stuff. Yeah. Do you remember the popcorn balls, going back to food, but sticking on Halloween?
Yes.
Those slapped.
Yes.
Those slapped.
Oh my god.
I want one.
What a great memory.
I want one right now. It was, for those who don't know, it was just a ball of popcorn, but it was like,
ball of popcorn.
I don't know, it had like sugar. Like it was like caramelized sugar that would just like keep it together. Yeah. And it was just a giant ball of popcorn, but it was so good. And I don't see them around. I know they're still around, but I don't see them around. So they were definitely bigger in the 2000s for sure. And I used to love those things, bro. So good.
Right.
But yeah, and I remember too, we were big, my family, like, we were big on going to church for a while. So that was always fun because there would always be like a Halloween event at church. They would do like trunk or treats and stuff like that, or just a Halloween party in general. So that was always fun. Like, I would go, and like my friends from school at the time, because the school was connected to the church and stuff. So I would just see my friends from school, and we'd all be dressed up, and we'd be trick or treating in the parking lot and going inside and like dancing to like Halloween music and stuff like that. So that was always fun. Another note I have though is like Grace and I, even though there's a 2 year age gap, we're still that's not far off. It's not like I was 13 and she was 6. You know what I'm saying? So we did a lot of stuff together. So I have fond memories of like, again, Grace, like I said with the lightsabers. Grace did not like Star Wars. It was until like a couple years ago that she actually watched Star Wars. But she was always down to play with lightsabers and things like that. So like even stuff that the other person didn't really care about, we would always like still play together. There would be times where like I'd be playing Barbie. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really care to play Barbie or Bratz or whatever, but my little sister wanted to play Barbie, so and she had nobody else to play with, so it's like, okay, I got to be a big brother and like sit down and just play Barbie for a couple hours.
I've been in the
right.
situation.
So like, yeah, we did a lot together. I have like every summer we would go on like a family vacation. Like me, my mom, my dad, and Grace, and sometimes we'd have other people with us and whatnot. And so we would just go to like a different state. Like we would go to one year we went to Texas. A couple years we went to New York because obviously we have family in New York. That's where like we're from, you know. So like we went to New York a couple of summers, Texas, Tennessee. We would just go to Vermont. Like we would just every year, it would just be like another state or a couple of states because you would drive through them and things like that. So I have fond memories of that, being a little kid and going to different states and stuff like that. There's one trip. Well, there's 2 trips that I could think of that our family went on together. One was the Nick Hotel when it like first opened. Both our families went together to the Nick Hotel. I have fond memories of that, and I have photos, or I should say, we have photos of like you and me with like Cosmo and Wanda and things like that, because there was like a character breakfast and things like that. Yeah, I just remember it like first opened, and we just had the time of our lives. I don't remember if you remember, but like for some reason, I just think of this memory. Like it was like in between buildings when you would be walking, there was like a pathway that had like kind of like statues of the Nick characters like doing things.
Yes.
It'd be like Chucky and Tommy like fishing with like Blue's Clues next to them and things like that. For some reason, I just have that core memory. I think Rachel, like, I mean, she was really young. She was probably like 4. She like wanted to take a photo with like the Blue's Clues statue so bad. I just remember that. Like that was really fun. That whole trip in general. I remember me and my mom ended up on like a game show. Do you remember that shit? Yeah, me and my mom. So they had like the game shows that you would go and watch, and like they came up to my mom and asked like, would you and your son like to be a part of like whatever the game show? It wasn't like Double Dare or anything. It was like some trivia show. And my mom asked me, and I was like, yeah. And I remember I said yes, and they signed us up. And then like an hour before the show, I got like super scared, and I was like, I don't want to do it. And my mom was like, well, we already kind of signed up for it, so we have to do it. And so I just remember me and my mom being on the show, and like you guys were just in the crowd of like this auditorium watching us on like this trivia show and things like that. So that was fun. So yeah, that Nick Hotel trip, very fun. It was like right when it opened too, so like it was brand new. Yeah, there's a ton of photos of us with Cosmo, Wanda, Dora, SpongeBob, and Patrick, obviously. And then the other one we went on was a cruise. When so our families went on 2 cruises. There was one more recently in 2019, but I'm talking about there was one we went on when we were kids. I think it was like a Carnival cruise or something like that. I don't even remember where we went. I just remember we were all together. And I remember there was this ongoing joke for some reason where you guys would hit me and I would pretend like I would get really mad and I'm like almost hulking up, and then I would just hug you guys. And for some reason we just thought it was the funniest joke in the world, where Rachel would just continue to hit me in like the chest and I'd be like hulking up, and then I would just like hug her. And we just thought it was the funniest thing. I don't remember where we went. I just remember Rachel dragging around this American Girl baby doll the whole time. So yeah, I don't remember where we went or what we did. I just remember that we did go on a cruise when we were younger, and I just remember that joke being like the funniest thing the whole time. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of everything I have though. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to add. Any trips, anything like that.
Let's see. There's definitely some memories I have with Rachel a lot because we've always had like a fun time. I think we told you recently about this one where instead of like we'd like put on a Disney movie, but instead of like watching the actual movie, we would just watch the Disney intro and where it like zooms out of the castle and there's all the fireworks and stuff like that, and we would just watch that and just jump on the bed and like cheer as it was going on. And then it would end, and then we'd be like, okay, rewind it. And then we'd do the same thing again, repeatedly for like 30 minutes straight, instead of just watching the actual movie. There was one time we did that, and we were watching the movie, and we made it halfway through, and we were just like, you want to go back to the intro? And we were like, yeah. And then we would just go back to the intro.
All right. So
there was
to close out our episode, because we are this is one of our longest episodes for sure. And we still have our Money in the Bank prediction that we have to film as well. So,
oh fuck. Oh my God.
So to close out our episode, my last two things. One, similar to what you said, me and Grace, there was this thing. We would watch Corey in the House. Great show. Little show, small show. We would watch this show, and there was like this thing where there was an episode where the president was sick, and the dad like gave him some soup, and the joke was that he was sick and he was like out of it, but the dad gave him the soup, and whatever he put in the soup, the president jumped up and was like, hot diggity dog, and like strutted out of the room like he was totally fine. And me and Grace thought it was the funniest thing. So what we would do was we would go into the fridge and we would get hot sauce and boil, like we had like packaged boiled eggs, like the pre-made boiled eggs. And so I would go in the kitchen and I would put hot sauce on this boiled egg, and I would like give it to her to eat, and she would jump up and do that. And we went and we kept switching and we kept doing that to the point until we ran out of boiled eggs. And then my mom, I remember coming home and was pissed because we just ate all the boiled eggs. But I just remember we would douse these things in hot sauce and just eat them, and then just yell hot diggity dog and then like run out of the room. And I just like, that's just a similar thing to like what you said, like just stupid shit.
Right,
and my last thing.
Yeah.
Theo, you are a hot dog. So
hot dog as well.
There was this random thing. I remember where it happened. It was at my old house, and you and Rachel were on the swings outside. We had like a swing set, and you guys were on the swings.
Me and Rachel were big swing people. We like
you guys.
A lot.
Your biggest insult to each other was calling each other a hot dog, and I took that and I ran with it. So I just, for like the whole night, whatever party we were throwing or whatever, the whole night, I just would find any way to call you and Rachel hot dogs, and the two of you would just get so mad to the point where Rachel started crying because I called her a hot dog. And so that's where I will end the episode, was that these two were
It's so weird how our family's legacy is so interconnected with hot dogs at random points.
There's another story about hot dogs that we will get into at another time, I'm sure, because it's not a 2000s.
Yeah, 2010
yes, for sure.
Episode. That's when we get into it.
So yeah, I will end this episode on that. Is that these two buffoons were so corny, so cringy that they would call each other hot dogs, and that was an insult. And it got to the point where I made Rachel cry because I just kept calling her hot dog.
We are corny people.
So
we are corny
people.
That's
it. That's our 2000s episode. Very long, so I hope you have stayed
two
all the way to the end, just reminiscing on childhood and the things we love. I got a T-shirt on here, this GTA-inspired OTS Project shirt. It should be on our Pro Wrestling Tees or the WNRN Printify if you want to grab that.
I have a Muppet shirt. It's not related to anything at all, but it's cool.
Well, somewhat related is Theo's logo that I'm still waiting to be put up on the Printify. But at some point, there is a Muppets-inspired Theo Bebop T-shirt that will be available to purchase.
It will be coming.
If you want that. If you stayed the whole 2 hours and 18 minutes as I'm looking at the timer here, we appreciate you. We thank you. Leave in the comments if you grew up in the 2000s. Do you agree with some of this stuff? Is there some stuff that we said that blasted you to the past? Is there some stuff we missed?
What's your favorite snack?
Right.
What's your favorite food?
show, toys, things like that? Maybe there's things we missed. I'm sure there's things we missed for sure.
Probably. Yeah.
So yeah, we appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all next week for episode 23.
Goodbye.